just went off the high. Saw a double top, I saw a trend break, I started, scalp, and then it's more or less the same thing, only I'm not shooting for VWAP on this. Solid but not spectacular volume with this bad boy. And it's now 11 o'clock, and Apple is still dipping, but it's not yet, it's nowhere near VWAP, it's nowhere near that 71 to 71 half zone that I kind of like for prior highs, but it is the strongest name in the market. At least that's not some kind of crazy small capper. So if you're looking for support, the market's at it. This one has been the best buy. It is all about that Perplexity, sorry, that Gemini headline.
Shout out to Caleb over here. Thank you for your kind words, man. You started an account just 3 weeks ago. You started with 5 bills. You just wired $2 grand. That's a hot dog kind of a trade there. Go grab some glizzies there and celebrate. Hopefully you've had some great trades on board. We don't have a red name today on the account. Well, IONQ is going to be red, but that's more like paying fees right there. But so far so good. Baba, Google, IONQ, and Marvell leads the way for me. And it's 101 right now. Yeah, some good trading. All right, good job here today. Let's go get some of that beef chili at some point and see how that's tasting. There it is. Charlie also up 1.5.
More excited for the garlic bread at this point.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if the garlic bread can make a comeback here. All right, Feds Barr speaking, Trump speaking, Williams speaking, and Sharif and Joe speaking right about now.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That right there is your boy Joey Options, Joey Hands, and I'm Sharif. And where are my people at? There we go. We got Be Free. We got Madwood. Okay. Starting off the day like that, huh? Other Zinc, OP, Ben Johnson.
Good morning, Jody.
Ben Joseph, I should say. Hinsey, we got Fino. How about Red Sport and Rex Banner? Shout out to Jody Mills. Good morning, Joe.
Yeah, I see that. Good morning.
Be Free again, A Trader. Shout out to Ronaldo, Ryan O'Day. We got Grant Ratcliffe and Julie B. Joe B's in the house as well as Winnie, T.H. Hangry, Wife, and Sean Woodman, Brandon Harriman, and Gary F. KJ Powered. And of course, I got to do it. Mike P.D. Ryder. Lava, we got Mohammed. We got It's All Pipes. What's going on here, bro? Vertigo, Big 40, Nephew, and TP. Shout out to Grandmother's Garden and Darth Trader, Kendall Lopez, joining you and I as well. Yeah. Shout out to OG Yannick and Bax. Who else, man? We got Adam, James, HPN. Christmas, Santa's in the house. I like it. Adrian, D. Westermeyer. We got James Murray and Stephen Thorpe. Yusuf Dawood and Scott R. Henderson. We got JG says, Vamos. Who else, man? We got Stephen Cannon, Oliver Prentice. One more. P.C. Hoon. Police Constable Hoon. Good morning, Joseph.
All right, brother. Anything for your Huckleberry? Oh, why did that one come up there? We don't want that. We can't hear it, but hopefully you guys can hear it there. No, your Huckleberry said hit the glass, baby. Yeah, anything for Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right, guys, I hope everyone's having a fantastic morning. Let's break it down on what we were trading here already on the session. All right, the first trade of the day, that is going to be Tesla. You guys know I'm probably going to take along on that. VWAP break holds. We double up the position. We then take it all the way up to 22.45. And then we get stopped out break even around 50% of our position. We try it one more time. Indecision print off of the lows. Doesn't go. So we give a little bit back. Not all of it as it breaks through and holds that 1 minute print that I was looking to take a short off of. Okay, what's going on here? Market or short? All right, let's get involved in this. I've seen an indecision print. I was talking to Gorv earlier in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm keeping my eyes on the quantum space. So let's see what we got going on that front. And that is going to be a short in QBTS, so you get that move lower. So that was a nice trade, almost $1 or so, a little bit more than that to the downside. I took, I guess, that last out there at $1. I'm still sitting on roughly around 15% of the position. If it comes back to break even, then so be it. But other than that, we go 2 for 3 on the session, and we're going to continue to look for some things. Once again, sniper mode will hold on to this trade. Is there going to be a reload opportunity? I think it's important to look at the volume profile and see what we got going on on. If we continue to pick it up on the lower time frame, then I have to be really cautious. This is a big time recovery right here in QBTS, and you can see that IONQ is starting to trade above the volume weighted average price. So there is IONQ starting to climb a little bit higher. Keep an eye out for this pre-market low zone that may act as potential resistance. If you have the ability to breach that, then I think you'll be all right. Now, as for what we got going on QBTS, as long as this downtrend stays intact, we're in play right now. It is getting a little bit closer to my break-even stop. I don't have many shares left, so that's okay if we get stopped out. I was more than happy to leave a little bit of a runner, once again, about 10-15% of the remaining position there, Sharif.
All right, guys, there is very, very few small cappers moving today. In fact, the biggest one, or the one that's most up right now since open, is only up 16.5%. So very, very, very thin in small cap gapper worlds. And that's why we've got some inverse ETFs here, QBTZ and RGTZ, as well as MSTZ. Typically names you wouldn't see on the side charts. We've had to throw them on there because the pick-ins are quite slim.
You need to tap into...
Oh, my bad. Are we
going?
Are we doing something already?
We might be.
All right.
You never know. We're always looking to...
What's going on?
Something
do I need to do something?
No, we're good.
Okay, so let's continue. Keep an eye on these ones. BGZ. This one is kind of the only pure small cap gapper kind of hanging out at the 10 EMA Delta 5. It's not, I don't know, this one's not really beckoning to be traded right now anyway to the long side. Fastly as well, you'll notice is on there, which is not a small cap gapper. ARCS is light on volume. I mean, nary a candle over 100,000 shares per 5 minutes. VRDN was kind of bull flagging at the volume weighted average price. It already lost it. IOVA kind of looks okay, but look at that declining profile, volume profile. The volume on this one is good. We're still getting about, 750,000, a million shares per 5 minute candle. It is declining though, so this latest candle only has about 500,000 shares, but there you go. You get a nice breakout there above VWAP into that 230. So let's load up IOVA. I guess this one and BGZ are the best of the bunch right now. Pure small cap gapper plays, not, these inverse ETFs. First and foremost, we're going to pull up IOVA. We'll have a look at the time and sales on this one, see what we can glean. We can glean that it's a 1 penny spread, not all that bad. Are we coming into technical areas of resistance? Yeah, that 2 1/4 to 2 1/3. We danced with that level earlier on in the day. I want to say mostly in the pre-market. This is the best I think we've done since that 240 pop at around 1020. Yeah, so what's my move here? So my move is, well, if I get in here and it's already showing you a little bit of a sell, 222, I would be out. Why? Well, because we've gotten to that 222 multiple times and held. So if we lose it this time, I don't want to be part of that. So my move here would be an entry above 230, I want to say, or 235. I'd like to see something above 235 to get above this pseudo head and shoulders looking pattern here. Bovin telling me NUAI. Let me take a quick look at NUAI. Former runner, obviously, a former convict. Yeah, Bovin, it's below the pre-market high. You see that pre-market high there. Although we did technically breach that pre-market high in the implied balance open, getting to 702. Yeah, look, I'm not going to argue with you on the day when there's basically nothing trading. For small caps, so we'll throw in NUAI, and we'll keep that on the side chart there to see if we can execute on it. Yeah, not much else. I got to tell you guys, pick and slim. We'll keep an eye on BGZ and IOVA, Joseph.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Yeah, so we got a bunch of names down again on today's session. Yesterday, I had that feeling that it was going to be just a cover rally. If you go to the higher time frames here, the 1 hour, we now engulfed essentially all of yesterday's grinding. So it's an all-day grind, essentially, and then boom, in a span of an hour or so, that is gone. So sellers are in control here, I believe. So we got to be patient and wait for some solid opportunities. On the grand scheme of things, it isn't too bad just yet. You can see 120 and TQs all the way down to 108. Adair, what do you have for us?
Keep an eye on Met Sarah. Looks like Novo Nordisk has once again raised its bid in its takeover fight for MTSR, as reported by Financial Times. Again, Novo Nordisk NVO once again raising its bid in its attempt to take over MTSR. Back to you. I'm still waiting for Trump to appear, guys, by the way. This stream is open. It just shows the White House. Once he is physically present, of course, I will keep you guys posted. Back to you.
Yeah, some Donald Trump speech isn't ever going to, I mean, it'd be good for the market, maybe, whether it depends on which direction you're looking in there, guys. But aside from that, we got stopped out break even on QBTS. That trend did hold up, but I wasn't going to allow a winning trade to turn into any form of a loser or give anything back. So you can see right at that touch of the volume weighted average price, I was that last liquidity grab before it decided to take a little bit of a dip lower. So that could have been a reload opportunity. We'll jot that down. But other than that, we can't complain taking $1 on QBTS all the way to the downside, almost out for those lows, and we held it too. My primary target was going to be 29, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to fuss and fight over 20 cents. There's no point in that. We'll front run that a little bit, and then sure enough, we got south of target, which is something really, really positive, and we'll take that. IONQ plays nicer. I mean, yeah, it's not looking bad, but a lot of sidewise PA here in IONQ. You can see complete sideways, a lot of overlapping. You're still in this consolidation, so keep an eye out on this. What I was trading last night, I don't know if it's going to show it, but I'll pull it up, was Dash. So what was going on here, I went to take a short at 208, and then sure enough, it didn't fill me. And I thought I canceled that order, but aside from that, once it sold off, I took a couple attempts to the long. I was in around 194.04 was my average, and we took that up to 202, and that was nice. But then this morning, I was telling Sharif, I get a notification on my phone saying, oh, order filled, and I'm like, what? What's going on here? So anyways, I did catch a fill this morning at 208 on, this is personal, obviously, at 208 in Dash, and then we take that all the way down to like 20 something. So that was a nice trade, and I didn't even mean to do that. So yeah, we'll take that all day, every day. Aside from that, guys, it's going to be the same narrative for me as of yesterday. I'm not going to just be hopping into anything. I want to find something clean and put probability in my favor. Obviously, that's what you're looking to do every day. But again, I'm more precision, and we're going to stick with that narrative, Sharif.
All right, man. Sounds good. That sounds like a good game plan. I just weaseled into the Regetti inverse ETF at the, so it printed a nice hammer candle that breached the 20. I'm looking for this hammer candle to hold. Low of the hammer candle on the 5 is 34. We already took a profit taker into a price spike at 65. Looking for continuation here. Prior bar low gets me out of the trade on this bad boy. I'm still keeping an eye, a close eye, I should say, on IOVA. Looking for continuation there. Also keeping an eye on NUAI. Shout out to Bovin for pointing that one out. Bovin, that CRCT one you pointed out, as you said, low on volume, 458,000 shares, Bovin. It's going to have to do a lot more than that, but I'll keep my eye on it. He's saying IINN as well, moving. IINN, let's have a look there. Yeah, not bad too, Bovin, but also it's $1.12. It's only done 455,000. So if it gets a volume spike, definitely keep my eye on that. What else? So the one that I was calling BGZ earlier, I do apologize. I put in the ticker wrong on my side screen, but it's BGS, and it's stair-stepping up into 5. It held the 10 very nicely, the 10 EMA on the 5. I wasn't, because of the volume, I was kind of suspicious of this one. I said, look, I have my suspicions about this one holding the 10. I think it might make its way down to 4 3/4 where VWAP is. Alas, it's now touched the high of the day. 502 is the HOD, and it's right at 5 right now, up 25.25%. So it's not a bad look, but I just got to get in off a better level. I can't be punching in at 5, given that it's a psychological resistance level and the high of the day. So that's not going to be for me, at least for now. Let's load up NUAI, though, and see what we're seeing. Let's get a better picture of this one. On the time and sales, 2-penny spread, not too bad. Higher lows, just above the volume weighted average price, but barely. Prior bar high on the 5 takes us to 663. We're at 52s now. Looking for a trend continuation. I perceive 640 to be an area of support. If it comes into 40 and holds, that's a buy area, but that's predicated, of course, on it losing the $0.50 level. Let's give this one an opportunity. I think I'm going to give this one an opportunity, Bovin, despite the fact that I see a compression pattern and undecided as how this one resolves. I'll defend this one into 40. Okay, I like that 40 penny level, so we'll get in here. NUAI, we're gonna throw in some orders too. Okay, we just got 55s. We're already pumping up to 58. So let's see. Maybe we'll get a nice little move up. We'll throw in some orders there. Okay, it's already taken out prints here. Good look on NUAIs. Weasels on up into prior bar high. Okay, there's 62 now showing up. Prior bar high, as I mentioned, is 63. So if we clear 63, that'll be a higher high. Shout out to the OG Bovin for pointing this one out again. So keeping my eye on NUAI, but let's go ahead and throw in some dip trades as well on this monster. I'm going to want mid-40s. So let's go ahead and wait at 45er to see if we can get something in and around that level. Quick look here at Regetti. This is the inverse ETF, guys, of Regetti. So RGTI, RGTZ or Z is the inverse of the actual main stock, Regetti. And so I'm going to be looking at some of these because, again, as I mentioned, the pickings are slim. Coming back down into 6.5, though, VWAP is at 5.25. Let's see. So we're going to get stopped out here for the last remaining amount on Regetti. I'll get some back at that 5.25 level if it's warranted. 15.25 or so. That is where VWAP is at right now. Quickly taking a look here at NUAI. Yeah, we get the other print north at 65. So let's go ahead now and wait at 69 and see if we can get something up there. So good look on NUAI. I think I got shaken out of Regetti over here, quite frankly. 15.5, kind of turning into a higher low candle relative to the hammer candle. And holding the $0.50. I'm going to punch back into this, possibly at a better price here. And I'm going to defend actually into the volume weighted average price, which is 15.25 on RGTZ. So we got 53s on. Let's go ahead and put some profit takers. Interrupt me if you need, bro, because
yeah,
I don't really know if you have anything to mention, but just covering these ones. And that is it. Okay, IOVA is breaking out, it looks like, over here. Nice look here on IOVA as it gets into area crest high. I'm talking about 240s. On IOVA just got into 234, so we're about 6 pennies or so from that crest high. Now, high a day is 244, mind you, but that was on an implied balance spike right at 9:30. It spent all of a quarter second there, so I don't really look at that as the main level. To me, the main level on IOVA is going to be 240. So we'll keep an eye out on that one, Joey. I like the look of this one's jib. Let's see if we can weasel on in to IOVA.
I like that. So we'll post up at 20s here on, actually, no, I'm going to take that off. I don't like it right now. It looks like we're going to take an additional leg lower. I was thinking about getting involved in some Tesla, but, I mean, it worked once. Can catch these lows. I would have been in that fill right there, but if we breach this 2014 level on TSLL, then I'm going to avoid it at all costs. But if we continue to consolidate around these lows, and sure enough, we start to slowly curl over like we're seeing in NVDA, and there's a couple other names across the board that are doing it, but just the momentum is to the downside. And one thing that made me go long out of the gate here on Tesla was that I thought we were going to get a breakout. If the market was stronger, I think that would have occurred, because considering where we opened up from a daily perspective, it was essentially top of the range, and then you're looking for that continued movement to the top side, but that hasn't been the case. And now I'm glad that I didn't take that long here. Going to be patient on this one. If the selling's going to stop, it might be a little bit later, I mean 12 or anything along those lines, because it has been consistent to the downside. Other than that, don't fight it right now. Volume, follow it. You can look at your profiles and just see what's dominating the session in just consecutive red candles. And then when buyers step in, look at this. This is pullback volume, guys. And that's why I'm like, oh, okay. The volume didn't step in how I was looking for right here on this move back into the volume weighted average price. And then you can see the volume really start to pick up as sellers step into the stock. Dara, what do you got for us?
Seeing some comments coming through from Cristiano Amon, that is the CEO of Qualcomm. He's speaking right now on Bloomberg TV, specifically saying that automotive is their fastest growing area right now, and that he is, quote, incredibly optimistic about personal AI devices. Now, QCOM is still very much down here. We're actually at these pre-market, or I guess post-market lows right now. But either way, just be aware, if you are trading this name, that the CEO is currently speaking on Bloomberg TV. That is Qualcomm, QCOM. Trump, still no updates there, guys. Back to you.
Very much for that. Now, Red Sport, you were mentioning earlier, not too long ago to me, saying, hey, I'm in some Palantir meta calls. I think there was one more that you mentioned. I'm curious if you've been riding against those positions. You said that they expire at the end of the month. That's really important. Even for me, I have contracts that expire in May, and I'm like, should I have even bought more time considering what we got going on in the crypto space? So in the meantime, it's just like try to stay calm and cool, right against the positions, right against your contracts, and hopefully you've bought enough time that things can turn around. You can grab another one at the lows, and then maybe you can get some appreciation, get out break even if that's what you're looking for, or specifically get somewhat of a return on those. So yeah, that's my game plan on that. Red Sport, if you have any other further questions, feel free to just ask me. I'll do my best to find them within the chat. But there it goes, an additional leg lower south of that 2020 level. Now we're starting to get somewhat of a bounce. Volume is slightly picking up, so it might not just be a breath. Again, you're going to want the overall market to participate, and if it doesn't, then just be cautious, because Tesla has an aggressive downtrend, and if we take a look at it from a daily, then you can see this is what I'm talking about. You open up at the top end here, you get a little bit of a push higher. I think just a liquidity grab. Now you're at the lower end of the range. If that support level snaps, watch out for the next level to come into play, and this consolidation can be absolutely dangerous. You can see that it's just somewhat of a channel. It's not the cleanest. A couple whipsaw moves in between there, but once this breaks to the downside, I think it's going to be a good opportunity to start buying some Tesla, considering at one point it was only 5% off of its previous all-time high streak.
Joey, CMBM breaking out here. Shout out to Yannick, shout out to Bovin, shout out to Martin Z, all calling it out. Look, it's not the biggest percentage winner on the day, but it's got a great looking chart pattern. CMBM on the NQ at the high of the day as we speak. There goes 18. There goes 19. I'm not involved in this one at the moment, but I'm certainly going to be looking at weaseling in. But look at Regetti. Knees are freaking heavy. All right, we were 0 for 1 on this. Back into positive gains on my man Regetti over here. What do we got, Joe? We've got 53s. We just took out 80s. Looking for the continuation now into 82. And you better believe it, we're going to be setting up at 88 as well. Let's put that bad boy there. In fact, I'm going to take off 82. Let that one at 88 fill. There goes NUAI as well, right back into the highs there. We get a nice little add into the 40s. Let's wet the beak over here on NUAI, now waiting at 69er on that one. How's my IOV trade? IOVA, excuse me. Where is it at? Hold on, Joey. There it is. Okay. Well, we didn't get the fill on the dip trade, but still holding trend, so no issues with that one. But I got to finagle an entry here into CMBM, man, because this one looking the best of the bunch. It's a series of higher lows and higher highs on the trend, and there have been incremental dips in the price. So this one seems, again, like we've talked about this before, when something has extreme moves, it tends to retrace a little bit. Some of them do, some of them don't. This one feels like it's one of those ones. Why do I say that? Look at that big move right at 930. We pop off that low of day 261 all the way up to 3. We drop. We do the same thing at 10 o'clock. We were at 283. We pop up to 310. We drop all the way down back to 280. From 280, that is the high of the day now, 329. So it has a tendency to mean revert once it has a big move up. So if it's going to do that once, twice, 3 times, definitely start picking up on that pattern and play it to your advantage. That means that you got to wait near the higher low, or the higher low before working back in. I don't think it would be wise to be punching in near highs. It's kind of hard, obviously, to discern where the high is going to come in, but that seems to be the issue here. There goes Regetti into 88. Joseph, good look. Now we're into 92. Here comes 16, guys. We got 53s on. It's a 16 high a day. So this is the inverse ETF, right? So this is basically moving the opposite of how the actual equity is moving. So is it leveraged or not? Let me just double check here, Joey. It's 2 times, excuse me, minus 200%. Okay, so now I've put an order to take out the high of the day on Regetti Mom Spaghetti. Okay, so we put it at 1625. It's a 16 high a day. Look, if it comes back into VWAP or around that 15.5, I'm buying more. But it's going to have to work its way down there. NUAI, we got the dip trade finally. So what's our cost basis? 49, Joey. So what's the move here on NUAI? This is an ugly topping tail candle, inverse hammer candle that we're caught in at the moment. So what's my move? My move is, allow me a second, 634 we're going to be out. That's going to be my line of saying. So we'll go ahead and throw that on there. For that many shares. So we'll have to throw that stop on NUAI. So packing my patience here on this bad boy, looking for continuation on NUAI, but quite well aware that this one's a bit of a bamboozler. Now we're throwing some orders. Now that we got the dip trade, we have 48 2/3 on, showing me 51. So let's see if we can take out some in the high 50s as well as the low 60s. So we're going to pack my patience on this one, see if we can get a move. And we're also going to be looking at CMBM for an entry. We're going to the big desk.
Now, I want to let you guys know here, Nasdaq at lows. We do have comments coming from Fed's bar, and we also have some tariff updates with the U.S. and China. It's just a lot of what we already knew, but now it's officially in a register order. But I'll still go over that regardless because I've seen it circulate here on X. We'll start with Fed's bar, saying that progress has been made in inflation, but there's still work to do. So again, yet another Fed speaker being a little bit cautious here, though certainly he is not being anywhere near as hawkish as the speakers that we had on Friday, namely Hammock and Bostic. We also, again, here with regards to these tariffs, we've got the U.S. posting in a register order cutting China fentanyl tariff to 10%. We already knew this, but now apparently it's been made official. Also here, I guess the U.S. announcing the temporary suspension of China's reciprocal tariffs in a regular order. So mostly stuff we knew, but either way, just be aware here's some tariff talk circulating on social media, China and U.S. to try to make that deal official. Back to you.
For sure. All right. Thank you very much for that, Adara. All right, guys, let's take a look at the SPY. People are saying, hey, how far could we go? I think it's the same thing. Obviously, we don't want to compare this ETF, but I think Microsoft is heavily weighted. And a lot of the veteran traders, I think, will, even if you're new and just continuously are studying and practicing, to me, the way I'm looking at this is not very sustainable. I mean, you get these little pullbacks, 3% here and there, but now you're starting to come into the lower end, to the lower end of this trend. Now, where did we look at this before? And that's going to go to Microsoft, right? We talked about this. We did actually a vote in a poll, and I said, hey, who believes that this is sustainable? And 99% of you said, yeah, no, that's not realistic. You're going to get some aggressive pullback. Yes, you get these additional liquidity grabs, but now you're starting to come back in. You get that double top right here, and now you're heading towards a neckline, which I think is going to be really important. If Microsoft decides that it wants to tank aggressively, watch out. There's a lot of, I don't know what I'm going to call this, but open space around this area, and I think it's going to be the exact same thing that we're going to experience in the SPY. But again, if we get down 10-15%, I think it's going to be a great buying opportunity. I don't think it's the end of this run whatsoever. And right now, it's AI spend, AI spend, AI spend. But what happens when it turns around to, all right, we're starting to become more efficient? Margins are starting to increase. The earnings are growing.
What the Chinese are doing, bro.
Bro, exactly.
Tell them what the Chinese are doing.
What are they doing, man?
They're Joey. They don't care about efficiency of power. They don't care if something's power efficient or not. So they're stringing a zillion of these things together because they're building out terawatts of energy. They don't care about the grid because they've got it to spend, and they're able to achieve very similar results to NVIDIA's best GPUs because they're using a ton of them.
And what I mean by efficiency, I mean within companies, right? Like they're becoming more. That's what I meant by efficiency. Like companies, obviously, people dropping employment, laying people off. Why? Because the AI is working for them and they don't need those physical humans to do the job anymore. And we know that wages are a big part of what companies are spending on. So at the end of the day, when they become more efficient, you're going to see a return in investment, hopefully, and it might be more substantial than what we're thinking. So that's kind of what's going on in the back of my head. The spend is still going on, but eventually it will turn around and you're going to start seeing some of these companies put up ridiculous numbers compared to even what they were before. So again, watch. If this breaks, guys, there's most definitely going to be some more downside. I'm not going to say we're going to head into bear market territory, considering off of that peak, we're only down about 2.9%. And what is, like, say we hit 20%, where's that going to bring us? I think that would be absolutely disastrous, down to 550, but I don't think that's going to be the case. 10, 15, maybe if we're lucky. Anything south of this trend line, I'm looking to get involved. Angry Wife, I hear you on that one. Just continue to build your own thesis. Don't mirror trade, and just go with the flow and what you know and what has made you consistently profitable before. And if not, then find something that you trade the best and just continuously try to rinse and repeat that.
All right, we're doing it live. My boy Joey here on NUAI. We get the nice fill there in the low 40s. Scalp, 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 all the way up. You know where we're waiting, bro. We're waiting at 69. It still hasn't printed, but we filled the 65 print or 67 print. So NUAI doing well. There's still a couple of prints there that we haven't got, but I do like this pattern of higher lows. Generally, I don't want to say a flat top in a strict sense, but generally a flat top in and around 70. So I'm hoping that this one breaks through that level. So that's first and foremost there. Secondly, Regetti, Mom Spaghetti, looking at getting right back into 16. I'm going to be quite lofty in my expectations about Regetti over here, especially if we can take out 16, given the amount of higher lows. And I've also worked into a new trade, as you can see there, BGS. We're getting in at highs. I'm looking to ride this one off the 10 EMA. I punched in at 03s, and I've got a dip trade that still hasn't filled here in the 40, so we're gonna pack our patience there. And last but not least, IOVA. My line in the sand here is gonna be 22s. It loses 22s, it loses me as a trader for the long side. We're packing the patience. Let's see if this one can price spike up. We're going back to the desk.
Yeah, I have to mention here, ASTS getting a little bit of a volume pop. Candle itself is oscillating a bit here, running around. James Altuche mentioning in a note here that ASTS could potentially be a takeover opportunity. So again, takeover speculation here for ASTS, getting its second largest volume candle of the day on that 15-minute chart. With that note, AST Space Mobile, back to you.
Yes, sir. All right. I was just reading something because I know what a lot of people are saying about Jensen.
What are they saying, Joey?
Well, I mean, he said they kind of pooed on his own stock. Yeah, I mean, he's back in China, I think, a little bit here. I got to read a little bit more.
Both sides, brother. I mean,
China.
He confirmed.
Oh,
you know what he
we
confirmed?
got it back.
Remember what we said yesterday?
What?
That their China revenue is near zero, and I thought it was a typo?
Yeah.
Your boy repeated it yesterday. He literally said it. His China revenue is now near zero, all but zero. So imagine how he feels having 95% of the market in 2022 and then having zero of it now.
That's crazy. It's insane.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, things can.
What is
Hey,
wrong
man,
with
just like life. Things can change on a dime just like that. All right, we got some nice prints off of the lows here in Tesla. Let's see if this is going to be our stopping volume. Second largest print of the intraday session. I like our chances as long as we continue to hold this low. We had this marked out on a specific level. Bounces right off it right there, guys. So that's a good look there. Let's zoom out a little bit to see if we can find what we're specifically locating. Maybe it was just a nothing burger on that. Lots of whipsaw moves. We're going to zoom out a little bit more. Head over to the daily. Oh, my days. What do I got going on here, man? Look at all these lines we got, Sheree, but they're holding up. There it is, that bounce off of that trend, multiple touches, right? You want to see 1, 2, 3, 3, a bunch of, what, you looking at the chart?
Assassino, bro. He's quick with the...
Yeah, he's quick now. He's quick now with it. But we got the thing back, so we can hit this, hit that over here, and then we're going to hit this here.
Yo, I haven't seen too many videos of Rizbot lately, man. He's falling off my
He's in LA though, isn't he?
He was in Austin, then I saw videos of him in LA. I don't know where the hell he is.
He got hit or something for sure, because people are like, I'm not putting up with this robot talking smack over here. Yeah, I got too much
He
going
asked,
on.
at least polite.
Yeah,
he's like, do you want to get a compliment or do you want to get, you know,
all right,
a little bit of disrespect? So at least he's asking.
Adara, what's that ridiculous robot that comes into Big Brother and starts roasting people?
I have not seen Big Brother in years, and I only saw Canada.
Okay, all right. Some people in the chat will know. But aside from that, guys, we are long some Tesla. Let's see what we got going on. Maybe we can get this move back. I don't know. VWAP might be a bit of a stretch, but we'll take it 110% bang at that break. 441 roughly, all the way up to 443 now, so that's not too bad. We're in TSLL. I would have liked a little bit better of a price, but that's okay. We're not going to complain because we are looking for this to rebound somewhat aggressively. Can it? Maybe, possibly. Only time will tell, and we'll be patient enough. So I think this trade prints well, says Bart Simpson. Shout out to Bart Simpson. Let's see if the Go picked it up. I don't think it will, even though there is some criteria that have been met, but nah, it didn't. So, dude, every time you do that, I gotta make sure Ramin's not behind me or something.
See, like when Ram introduced me to her sister yesterday, did you see how immediately mean she was? Yeah. The first thing out of her mouth was, "My sister's making fun of your TikToks."
Yeah,
not
like,
here.
hey,
nice to meet you, or hey, sure, this is this is my coworker, Sheree. Just straight to being mean.
She was like, "That's Joey." All right, yeah, hi, nice to meet you.
Well, at least you didn't get cracked on.
Yeah,
bro.
well, it was pretty much. It was like slight disgust in the way she said it, but at the end of the day, it's all good, man. Hydration nation right there. You got to drink your water. You got the coffees over there. We can't cheers that stuff.
You're not allowed to cheers.
Apparently, you're not allowed to cheers water, so we don't do that. But we'll go shout out to Hydration Nation. Make sure you guys get your fluids in.
Joey, I got to cover
Yeah, go ahead, man.
NUAI, shout out to the OG Bovin. We're doing it live. We've got 45s on. We just wet the beak at 80. And now set up at 85. NUAI, good stair step up. The higher lows are what's operative to me, but I'm alive. I'm very much alive. Yes, I'm talking. No, but I'm alive to the fact that we're also putting in lower highs, okay? So I'm talking about that price spike up at 935. That got us into 702 HOD. And then I'm looking at that 1030 spike as well. This bad boy right here, that took us to a high of 695. Now we're at another yet lower high at 680 this time around. So I'd need to see, you know, a nice break above 695, 696 to kind of break the trend. And quite frankly, the trend is, you know, lower highs but higher lows. That's a compression pattern until it breaks out. We'll see. I'm not going to be adding into this position until I see a higher high. So here comes 80 again. I'm set up at 85 here on NUAI. Let's see if we can get a nice price spike up. I'm still holding Regetti Mom Spaghetti, but we don't have too much on. But here comes 16 again. And 16 this time is being approached with higher lows. So that, I love to have that on, you know, sort of as a tailwind. There goes 1601. We're showing 01s, 03s now in Regetti Mom Spaghetti. Let's go. 11 1/3. This is RGTZ. So I misspoke by saying Regetti. Obviously, this is an inverse ETF. It's a leveraged ETF. It's 2 times the movement to the opposite side of its main name. Okay, so it's a derivative product. Make sure you know that you've got access to these. This one doesn't trade on the Amex, thankfully. It trades on the Nasdaq, so we won't have to deal with all the shenanigans that come with that exchange there. No, I don't mean to disparage them. So that's it right there, Joey. One more thing before I send it back to you. IOVA, I built the position in now into the 10 EMA. If it doesn't hold 22s on BGS, excuse me here. That's what I'm talking about. If it doesn't hold 90s, we're gone on BGS, right? We're punching in at highs. That, by definition, is a little risque. So that's not really my modus operandi. So we're going to have a bit of a tighter stop on this one. There goes RGTZ, and there goes my chair to the downside. We get RGTZ up, my chair down. It all makes sense. Now we're waiting at 25s. I'm going to wait above the high of the day on RGTZ. I'm waiting at 25s, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's true, Brian Hart. LMFAO, Tesla, 100%. Remember that group, was it LMAO?
I know, Neil.
I think so. No, other than that, guys, we're still in this position. We're going to hold up. Palantir putting in a potential indecision print off of those lows. No volume supporting it just yet, so we're going to be patient on that one. Bye-bye market is right, guys, as it's taking an additional leg to the south side. Shout out myself, maybe like 5 to 10 before things get up the way. All right, that's crazy. I mean, if it's more than 90%, that's insane. And I already know what type of texter you are, Mike P. I'm the same one. You probably just sends one word at a time, and it's like 50 words, and people can't stand it when you do that. Joey? Texting, you know, it's like a couple words at a time, send couple words, send couple words, send. yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Lars.
you.
yeah. Oh yeah, Lars.
You know what, dude? Like when I was trading back at home, and me and my buddy Alfred.
Yeah, you were telling me about. Yeah.
100 like brother, just put it in. And I'm in a hot position. I'm really trying to focus, and the watch and the phone, they're all going off. Yeah. It infuriates me, bro.
Yeah.
Man, why do you do that?
I don't know, man.
Why?
I don't know why. It's just how it is. Boom. You got to get it out quick before the conversation changes. So you're just like da. But no, in all seriousness, guys, some good looks across the board. Once this lower end on Tesla is broken, then we're going to get out of that one. Potential indecision prints off of the lows here across the board. I mean, one thing to note, guys, and something that I've observed over time, the tighter that the volume weighted average price hugs the price action, the less likely of a stronger bounce, right? Why? Because volume is trading lower and lower, and that's your average. So lots of volume stepping in, and essentially you might not get that move. So you can see the selling pressure get right back involved into the overall market. So we're still short this Tesla. Palantir might look like it wants to bounce. I didn't have Robinhood up here anymore. I was looking to trade this on the earnings report last night, but unfortunately it just didn't come into play. My strategy is so simplistic. When it comes to earnings, it's literally a 5-minute orb, right? So a 5-minute opening range break. And what is the opening range? It's the announcement. It's that 5-minute print. As soon as that is released, you wait for that volatility to cool down, and then you look to get involved. So as for DoorDash, let me show you a kind of example of what we had going on. So you can see that strong print to the downside. So I'm going to suspect and assume that, hey, momentum is going to continue on that path. You obviously want to keep an eye on the tape, but once it snaps the body or the wick, I tend to get involved. I tried that, but for some reason I couldn't get a fill, and then sure enough, it just continued to bleed. But other than that, I have a vast book of all these trades that I used to put on with these specific setups, playing earnings, and that's why I enjoy it quite often. An individual who taught me years and years ago makes the majority of his yearly money off of these earnings reports and just playing that simplistic system. You play the break of the high of the 5-minute candle and you pay the break of the low. So if you're interested into something like that, trading after hours, start observing. Obviously the volatility is really important. That's why you wait for that 5-minute candle to cool down and print and close, and then you can play the orb. The tighter the price action closes to the wick, the more chances of that momentum going to the downside, whether it be or upside, sorry, whether it go up or down. I forget which side, I forget which ticker it was that traded higher yesterday, but it wasn't anything crazy. Not the best examples. DoorDash was most definitely the best one, but other than that, guys, Tesla holding up on these lows. We're extremely small right now, looking to add, but if it continues to bleed, this is going to be nothing. I'm not even going to call it a paper cut or anything along those lines, just due to the share size. I'm looking for the overall market to bounce street, but it doesn't look like it wants to today.
All right, man. Shout out to Big Smile. Did you hear, see what he said?
Big Smile? No, I don't want to know.
I'm not surprised that LJS is a short stroker texting also. Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm not reading that last part there, man. Big Smile, man, you always get me in trouble, bro. Come on now. See that, Joey? He's coming after you.
I mean,
I'm not reading that.
Okay, so yeah, we don't need that. Kyle, man. Kyle.
He's such a liability.
Hey, man,
bro.
How many kids? You have a lot of kids, don't you?
Such a liability. He's got a little army over there.
Yeah, he's got an army, man. So
he's got a little army over
you must
there.
be quick with it, my friend.
We're getting like that on the show. No, we're not. All right, guys, let's cut the crap. Let's get right down to business. So we'll start. We've got 5 trades on right now. Let's start with IOVA. Okay, this is the worst performing out of all of them right now. I've got 31s on. It's showing me 25s. Anything below 22 ends the trade for me. So let's go ahead and throw that one on there. We're going to go just like that for that many shares. So we've got that in play. BGS, we just worked into that. What do we got on right now on BGS? $5 is showing me 99. It's still holding the 10 EMA on the 5, so I've got nothing to do here. Pardon me. Let's go on to the next one. RGTZ, this one continues to make area highs. The area high here is 16.10, back into 16. I'm waiting at 25s. I'm waiting for a high of daybreak on this monster. NUAI still holding the 10 EMA on the 5. I've taken out substantially the majority of the position on NUAI. I've got 45s on. It's showing me 60s now. I don't mind adding it to this position, but I will only add on NUAI if we make a high above the previous area crest. So the area crest that I'm talking about is the one that printed at 1025, and that takes us right above into that 690, mid-90s area. Let's go on with CMBM. Shout out to the OG Bovin. I worked my way into this. Initially, I had a breakout trade waiting on CMBM above 24s, but that didn't work out. I'm like, look, you got a lot to work with here on CMBM. You have the 10 EMA close by. You also have price action resistance initially at that 310. So there's a whole lot to work with. Now, annoyed because I didn't get that fill. I was waiting for a fill at 11. It got into 11s. It didn't cross. It didn't fill me. Sucks to be me, okay? But what I'm looking for here is a bull flag continuation. I perceive this as a bull flag with the high, of course, being the high of the day at 29s. What do we have on this one? We've got 17s. It's showing me 19s. Let's see if we can pump up a little bit more. And then last but not least, RGTZ rejecting 16 right now, coming back down into the 10 EMA, into the low 80s, low 90s, mid 80s, excuse me. And so that's what I'm looking for. All right, I'm seeing CMBM breaking out here, about to take out one of my orders at 22. It's got a cross. It's not crossing. There it is. We get the fill at 23. Let's see now if we can get a fill here at 26. I'm going to post up at 33s as well. Let's see if we can get that. Annoyed I didn't get that ad 11. Joe. All right, so we'll have to deal with that, whether we got the ad or not. That's kind of the cost of doing business. So CMBM, 5 trades on today. Let's see if we can do a little bit better on these bad boys here. Packing my patience, Joey.
All right, man. Shreve standing on business today for sure, man. Make sure you guys stand on business for sure at all costs. Obviously, it's like kids lingo these days. You know what's
I like it, bro.
Yeah, stand on business, man. I've been standing on
Watch
business.
out. Don't use too much of that lingo because you'll raise Ram's ire.
Oh, yeah,
and then she'll say you're not
Apparently,
cool and that you're... And then look,
man.
see that? See,
I
Joe?
see.
Look.
Oh,
You see that, Joe? You see that?
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, bro.
Listen, I don't know, man. Ram, she's different, man. She's a Libra, 100%.
Bro, she's a fake Libra, bro.
Okay.
She's born on the cusp, man.
Yeah, 100% KD.
Yeah.
She's on the cusp.
Isn't the 20... Ram, your birthday's the 22nd, right? Okay, wait. We're gonna do a live right now, Joey.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna find out.
What?
Yeah, I know, but you're a cuspian. Is
Cuspian.
October 22nd.
BTC's in trouble here, folks. It's not looking too good. They're just gonna absorb an insane amount of liquidity, dump it to levels where people can't even. They're like, yo, I can't take this mental taxation anymore, and then they'll get out. And then once all that's cooled off, sure enough, it's gonna just start rallying, and then it's gonna probably go to all-time highs and maybe even a little bit north of that. Or I could be completely wrong and talking out the wazoo. Yeah, thank you, Jody. Very nice. Jody, we gotta love a little Jody Mills in the chat for sure. I hope your day's going pretty good. And yes, Libras
are the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
My old man's a Libra, so I have nothing bad to say about Libras.
About that,
obviously,
man.
Geminis and Libras are both air signs. Same thing. Hey, Assassino knows, bro. He said air signs are the best.
Yeah, man. We're balanced individuals. You know what I mean?
You guys are. Aquarius, of course, fits into that category as well. My best friend's Aquarius.
Apparently, you're not supposed to ask people what time they were born or with their moon sign.
I know. Why not? You need that, actually. If you want to do a birth chart, you ever heard of birth charts or natal charts, they call them?
I think so.
So you need the location where you were born, the day and the time, the day, obviously, the year. And you need the time.
The time?
Yeah, because like planets are in different I don't know.
All right, cool. Put it in the chat, guys. What are you? What is your star sign? Yeah, man, like Joseph said, you know what to do. Don't listen to others. Exactly. Hangry, right? At the end of the day, you're the one punching the keys, right? You can't allow other people to kind of sway your mind, even though they do come with a little influence. We were talking about it the same with the likes of Tom Lee and company. These guys are like, yeah, BMNR, Ethereum this, Ethereum that, right? And then sure enough, look at what's happening to those after they've made boatloads of money, and now they're just starting to buy things at a lower price. The volume, but poor Michael Saylor, if that's actually not poor him, because I don't know what he was doing with his earnings report saying Bitcoin to 150,000, everything along those lines. So anyways, aside from that, guys, let's go. We're starting to slowly curl over here in Tesla. Is this going to be enough? We have indecision prints across the board in a lot of the names, guys, but NVDA down to 188. I think this is going to be an absolute steal of a buy. Going to load the boat on this bad boy at one point, considering from that 212 level, Sharif, we're down 11%, closer to 12. And I think if we have any opportunity to come into, I mean, I'm a little ahead of myself, but to 75, it's just like, oh, okay, buy a lot of this thing. So I like it. The more it sells, the more I like buying it at lower prices, obviously, as obvious as that may sound. So shout out to Captain Obvious over there. No, but other than that, guys, I'm still sitting on my hands. If we can get this to slowly curl over in Tesla, I think there's going to be a solid add-up opportunity. I'm relatively light, so once I add into the full position, we'll see that my average will come down drastically, and then maybe we can get a move into some prior resistance zones or support zones that can act as possible resistance. And if you get any form of a breach of that, then I think we could be off to the races to the top side. But as for today's session, does not look like it. Sellers in 110% control, so be careful on those retracements. Back to VWAP, guys.
All right, guys. I had to stop out of NUAI break even for the remaining amount. We didn't have too much on the remaining amount, so good stop there. But I'm continuing to watch it to see if it wants to put in yet another higher low and make yet another lower high. The compression pattern continues to hold up here. So here's what I'm talking about. Bottom chart, guys, higher low, and then currently, if we hold up at this level, will be another higher low, and still holding the lower highs as well. So watching to see if I can finagle back into this one. This current candle has a low of 32. We are showing 36 on the bid. So if you were to enter here, personally, I would put my stop, just below 30. Give it a little bit of room. You don't have to have it right at current bar low. give it some breathing space. But I'm unlikely to give BGS any more space than that 90 penny area, which is where the 20 is. Let me see exactly where my stop is on that. I don't want to guess. BGS is the one I'm talking about there, my stop on that. Okay, I've given it enough room. I've given it enough room. If it doesn't hold up at 90, I lose on that one. Let's go to CMBM. Still forming what I perceive to be a bull flag after that, you know, 11, I want to say 1125, 1120 breakout. What do we got on this? We have 17s because we didn't get the 11 ad. And yeah, we're having trouble reaching that high a day at 29. So I've only taken one beak wetter on this. And we're in the money, but I'm continuing to watch here now. I would not mind getting that 11 ad, but it didn't give it to me last time. So, and it's no longer valid, that 11 ad, because that 11 ad was predicated upon the 10 EMA. And the 10 EMA is dynamic, it moves. So I have to move with it as well. I don't want to place my order at 13s, Joseph. All right, I'm gonna put it over here. We're gonna put it at 14s. I don't like 13s. So that's my move on that. And then IOVA, I think I just got stopped out of that. That will be my first loser on the day on IOVA. That one lost trend, so we will have to give that one back. It loses 222. We talked about 222 holding up earlier, and it just lost it right now. So IOVA is going to lose its spot on the side chart for me. A couple of reasons. One, it gave up that 222 level where I felt it should be holding up. Second of all, it's below VWAP, so it doesn't meet the standards of my system. I also want to point out one quick thing before we go to the big desk. MSTZ. Look at this. This is an MSTR inverse ETF. Very, very clean, stair step up, basically moving above the 10 EMA at every level, and it's at the high of the day right now. It's up 13 and 2/3, 13 and a quarter. And let me just tell you exactly what the weighting is of this ETF. It is 2 times the inverse of the daily performance of the MSTR. So make sure you have access to this if that is restricted for you, and also trade it carefully. It is a weighted product. Adair.
So to let you guys know, I have sort of an update on the presence of Trump. We know he was set to deliver an announcement at 11 a.m. Well, as of about 6 minutes ago, so just before 11:45 a.m., the White House stream of this announcement is now live. So it looks like we should expect him relatively soon. The White House stream on YouTube was not live until that point. I was waiting on another stream, but now it looks like we could be getting Trump hopefully pretty soon. Once I physically see him or hear him, I will keep you guys posted. I want to let you guys know as well, Jamie Dimon not speaking so great about stablecoins. I'm just coming through 3 seconds ago. Jamie Dimon saying that he doesn't know how stablecoins will play out. CRCL and COIN could be 2 stocks to watch here. Back to you.
Diamond said that. Okay.
Get it, Jeremy.
Yeah, get it, Mr. Diamond. I mean, I'm not going to go really. I like Jamie.
Diamond.
Ooh, Diamond and Diamond.
Not, oh, God, that's not what I meant. You know he goes to my gym, right?
Does he actually?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah. Jeremy Diamond, he comes to my gym all the time.
You know who I used to see, rest in peace, in Liberty Village all the time?
Who?
Darren Dreger.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. He's downtown.
And he was in extreme shape.
Really?
Yeah. Darren Dreger was in.
I thought you were talking
man.
about Dutchie. Darren Detition, may he rest in peace.
That's who. Yeah, Darren Detition.
Darren
Yes,
Detition.
Yeah. Sorry,
Of course,
Detition.
he was
Yeah.
jacked. You know
He was.
that.
Yeah. Sorry, not
He-
that. That's
he,
Dreger, not Dreger. No.
It was cancer, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Darren Detition was cancer?
Yeah. He was.
Yeah.
He was.
May he rest in peace.
Surprising.
Great guy,
Man, he looked super healthy and everything along those lines.
Big boy, but
Huge,
cancer spares nobody, bro.
No one whatsoever, man. And yeah, I mean, I used to do, my 10Ks used to be run for cancer, so I just try to contribute to that, man, because it is the destroyer of everything. I've seen it just absolutely, it's horrible what it does to people. But anyways, aside from that, guys, let's get back into these markets.
Sir.
We'll add a little bit more here on this Tesla trade as we are curling over. Yes, I'm in at the top end of the range. Obviously, this would be more ideal, but that's not the situation that we're currently sitting in. As we're starting to climb higher, now you can see that my average price has came down a little bit, guys. Now we're break even on this one specific trade. Are we going to continue to climb? I can add an additional one. We let it chop around a little bit, boom, and then we take a little bit of a move. But I want to mention some things that Drop System said on what I was talking about VWAP, and he phrased it significantly better than I can.
Okay.
Better than I did. So a stock in relation to VWAP one more time, bigger gap gap between VWAP versus current price equals bigger potential snapback. Yes, I like how you put that. So again, we are extended, but you can see that we're just slowly trending down with it. If you see the volume weighted average price start to smooth out, then I like our chances of a stronger move back towards that specific indicator. Here's an example on QBTS, right? Starts to smooth out, and then sure enough, you get that elastic effect and you snap back towards that. And I just don't see that happening right now in the overall market. And the same in NVDA. If this thing wants to bleed its own blood, then at the end of the day, it's going to be in trouble, man. Yeah, shout out to Ben Stiller. Someone mentioned it. Yeah.
At least you just set me up for that, but typically you set me up for failure, but I do that.
Yeah, you know that one, man. So shout out to rest in peace, Patches Zohulahan as well too. So shout out Patches. But same thing here with Palantir, guys. Not smoothing over just yet. Nice steady slope to the downside. So be cautious of that, Shreve.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back into NUAI here at 42s. Just wet the beak at 48s. Looking for that continuation back above 50. Going to keep my stop exactly where I told you guys. So if it doesn't hold up that bar, we're gonzino on this one. Looking for a continuation back, possibly, to test $0.75. I'm assuming it's going to put in a lower high because it has 3 times in a row now. So if it continues up, doesn't stop me out. Definitely looking for continuation on that. Regetti Mom Spaghetti, well, RGTZ came into the 20, okay? I've got, what do I got? 53s on this one. It came into the 20 EMA and it put in a bottoming tail right into 56s. It's still putting in a 3 red candle pullback right now. So I don't know how to feel about this one. I was thinking to give it to the $0.50 and then I'll get out. CMBM, all right, popping back up into the $0.25 here. We only have one profit taker on CMBM because I'm waiting here at 27s. It momentarily showed me 26, but it dropped back into 24. Look, this feels very bull flaggish, man. We are holding above the 10 for the most part, higher lows on almost every candle. So I'm expecting this one to take out 29, 329 that is. But when, I have no idea. The volume has got to step in, and right now it is not. The volume is declining down into the right on CMBM. So I really like this chart pattern, though. I really do. I love the bull flag aspect of it. I like the higher lows. And so we'll have to wait to see if we can get a print on that. There goes RGTZ right off the 20, and here comes 16 again. So this makes me feel stupid for not having added there. And there was precedent for a 20 hold. Now, it's not a clean 20 hold, as you can see. It wicked below it, 11.05, wicked below it, 11.15. All of those did close above the 20, and then it wicked below it again, 11.50, ended up closing above it. So clearly, the algorithm or the trader or whoever the hell is trading this is using the 20 or some derivative thereof. We know that moving averages can basically mirror one another on different time frames. For example, the 50 or the 10 could be something on the 5, and then it could be or the 20 could be something on the 5-minute, and then the same on the 15, but at the 10. So you have to do the math there to figure it out. I think I just got stopped out of NUAI again because it did drop. Yeah, it did drop. So this one didn't hold trend. So this is below VWAP. Now we give back a little bit on NUAI, full disclosure, because this one we added a full position into that level, so we'll give back a little bit there on NUAI. What else we got going on? There goes RGTZ back above 16, 1607, 1609 now. We know high a day 1616. So let's see if this one wants to take out my order. I've got my order at the lofty area of 25, so by definition, it'll have to clear above the day's high. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've got right now, Joey. RGTZ, CMBM, and BGS. BGS is still holding up.
All right, good. Yeah, so I was thinking about shorting RGTI. So you're on the inverse there, Shreve.
Which is exactly
yeah, exactly. So I like that there. Guys, we're out of Tesla. That's going to be the last attempt on there. I gave the majority of what we made back, literally probably about 99% of it as I'm looking. So I don't want that to be the case, trying to catch these falling knives. So I'm going to just try to go with the flow. That could be an additional liquidity grab. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. That's just the nature of the market. Red Sport, we're going to go over some things that you can potentially do right now. Let's pull up Meta. You say you're in the 585s. Oh, okay, 585 calls. Oh, okay, I know what happened here. Did you buy them shortly after earnings? Did you buy them? Let me know when you bought these, because if it was anywhere after this day, if you bought them a couple days after, it's not too good. But we're gonna go over some things that you can do. You got the 585s. We're currently trading at 620. That's the dangerous thing about buying so far in the money. You can't really work with it. That's why I stick with at the monies. It just gives you a little bit more of a gauge and leeway room. But what we can do here, my friend, is considering that you have the rights to the 585 strike. So it's right here. The at-the-money IB is cooling down. It was at like 70% a couple of days ago. So that's something you most definitely need to keep an eye out on. But your 585, my friend, I think it's time for you to start. Actually, no, you can't even do that. You have to go drastically in the money here now. But you're still going to collect a little bit. We'll go next week, right? So you can just kind of stop the bleeding and go to these 650s or something along those lines. What are we trading at right now? So that's 30 bucks. You can collect $400 on those, so that can help. And if they expire next Friday, as long as Meta closes below 650 by next Friday, you get to keep that $400. And that's just a way you can kind of mitigate those losses and just keep them not as heavy. And that's also, if there's more bleeding, considering that you have that short call, it's going to really cool down your delta and your gamma exposure, which is extremely important. So that's one option that you can have. You can even go a little bit higher if you want to play safe, but don't forget, the higher you go, the less probability of you collecting all of this premium. For me, 10 delta is 173 bucks. It's not even really worth it at that point, even though I don't believe by next Friday we're going to see 670 on META. So your best, yeah, exactly. That's crazy. So this is your best option in my opinion. 650, even 655 above some of this, or 652 and a half, 40 bucks left, nothing wrong, nothing wrong with that. That's a route that I would personally do, because I have to in my options position. It's getting schlacked, guys. I told you that, but what I can do is just try not to absolute panic and go gung-ho buying puts here, doing all these things that I think that can make my trade better. Is that no? Patience, calm, breathe, write it down, and then just come out with the game plan and stick with it. As difficult as it's going to be, because it's hard, trust me, I'm in the exact same position as some of my other individuals, but you just need to woo-saw, calm, let it play out, and just allow yourself and the trades to do what they're meant to do, and you have no control over it at the end of the day.
You don't. You're a market observer, not a market mover.
Yeah,
and like the quicker you can reconcile that in your mind,
it's like, just trust me, the situation in my account is not good. It is not good, but there's ways that we can just stay calm and cool, and obviously prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I think that's some of the situations that we're in.
All right. Okay. We're keeping an eye here. CMBM just dropped, so we got out of half there. I had to take out half. It lost the 10 EMA. Here comes, though, the technical area of support. I'm talking about this 310 area into 3. Obviously, price action support is at 310. And then obviously psychological level at 3, but 3 also has VWAP as well. So let's see how CMBM does over here. We're gonna have to send you guys now to Adara for happening now, and then Neil is gonna drop his lesson of the day.
There is so much to discuss today, not least of which is some of this weakness here in the market. It is worth noting we now have one of the more hawkish Feds as of late, I would say. Fed's Hammock, she just started talking at 12 p.m. She says it's going to take 2 to 3 years to get inflation back to 2%. Now, we know some comments from Hammock as well as Bostic coming through on Friday around this time did cause the market to push a little bit lower, so be aware of that. Fed's Hammock also saying that the monetary policy is only barely restrictive, if at all, and that she actually expects elevated inflation through 2026. She thinks the economy is going to pick up as of next year. I have to talk about some comments from this man as well. Now, this man, if you aren't familiar, is podcaster as well as AI and crypto czar for Donald Trump. His name is David Sachs, and he's made some comments here, seemingly in response to commentary that we had from Jensen Huang, who is, of course, the CEO of NVIDIA. He said that, it's likely that China will beat the U.S. in the AI race, that he backpedaled these comments a bit. Well, David Sachs, saying in response to some of the criticisms that were made, or I guess comparisons between China and the U.S., said, quote, there will be no federal bailout for AI. The U.S. has at least 5 major frontier model companies. If one fails, the other will take its place. Yeah, so long story short here, David Sachs trying to address some of these comments. These were just posted here on X, so be aware that is happening. I just also saw Pop and Eli Lilly, so keep an eye on these companies as we continue to await the arrival of Donald Trump with his announcement that is highly, highly expected to be about weight loss drug prices. Last but not least, tons of names reporting after the bell. One of them is DraftKings. But we know DraftKings actually popped pre-market as well. ESPN terminating that Penn Entertainment partnership and starting a betting partnership with DKNG. They're reporting after the bell, so is XYZ, OpenDoor, Affirm. And you can find some earnings-related preview information to prepare yourself for the report on X at TTV Research for DraftKings, OpenDoor, and XYZ. I'm currently working on one for Affirm as well, so that should be posted soon. Before we send you over to Neil and what should be an exciting lesson of the day. Oh, Trump just started speaking, guys. We're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S. There is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics OGEN is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access, with the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027. Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. I just heard the word pharmaceuticals, so stay tuned in our chat. And on the position board part of the screen, I will be putting up highlights from this conversation as we send you over to Neil, and an always scintillating lesson of the day. Give the people what they want, Neil.
Give the people what they want. More Adara? More Joey options knowledge? I'll give you guys the lesson of the day. I can't promise you're going to want it because oftentimes the best lessons are the ones you don't want to hear. However, that's why they are what they are. You shouldn't need to get bailed out. Sometimes, you know, like the market's going to bail you out of something, providing an opportunity where maybe, you know, like it shouldn't have been there. You should have followed your plan, but then some other opportunity comes up and bails you out of like a loss somewhere else. I'll end up admitting that happened to me today, but I'll show you why it shouldn't have come to that because that's important. But ultimately, there was one thing about it that was from a lesson, I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago, and I said, do more of what's working. And and I want to thank the viewer in the chat. And I didn't catch the name when they mentioned it. That had said, you know, they had mentioned that they were short this day one gapper buyout thing, FRG, and they were short at 44. And I was simply saying, and full disclosure, I was long it at the open. And I was sort of saying when it went past the risk-free price, which I also had shorted at the open for a small scalp, excuse me, past about 43.8. that it's risky above that price. They had mentioned they were short at 44. And what I ended up seeing at the moment when the market was tanking was a mean reversion. It's the same trade. And look, I do the same thing. If it's a buyout, if it's a penny stock, whatever, I take mean reversion trade regardless. So I did take this mean reversion trade off 44. And as I was coming back into that level, and you'll notice something I don't usually do, which is play back into it. And then I like to call it jamming, like I got filled here and then I jammed at 01s, meaning I basically just said this is it and I doubled up position. And the reason was this is a level that was working. It's working for a scalp, it's working for a hold, all that kind of a thing. Meanwhile, it's like I continuously was taking pot shots at Tesla in a similar vein. And again, this is, you know, if this stock moves 20 cents, that's kind of a big deal. You have to think of it that way, right? But Tesla, on the other hand, the whole morning, I have to zoom out so you can see the executions. I'm taking my shots. I'm not really ever holding anything much against me. The only time that I gave it more room was at the best level, right down here at what I thought was the best level. And now Tesla might go. And you'll note that I'm actually eyeballing this right now because it's trying to reverse off of my level. Now, ultimately, I was able to jam in FRGE to end up making up for like 6 or 7 losses in Tesla. But here's where I don't like that. FRGE just happened to be there for me. But on the other hand, there are 2 things it shouldn't have even come to. It shouldn't have even come to that at all. I liked Apple long today. This is a result in Apple long. Apple should have been able to make up for Tesla. You got to execute better. I had SMCI as a short today, and I gave up the short and didn't get back into it at an obvious spot. I was shorting it all morning, the same area, did not get that re-entry. In fact, actually, when it was breaking down, looked for a reverse long instead of a continuation short. So if I actually just went back to the 2 things that were working exactly to plan, then SMCI could have made up for Tesla. And Apple could have made up for Tesla, and not some random stock that someone brought up in the chat that I was like, oh, I'm kind of trading this. Let me look at this. Oh, that actually looks pretty good. Let me just go ahead and do that. That can work for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will jump from setup to setup if it's good. I'll look at a stock that I haven't traded yet or an idea that I haven't looked at yet if I think it's a good setup and it's something that has a positive expectancy. I'll do it all the time. In this particular case, it shouldn't have needed to be a random stock to get me to green today. Shouldn't have needed to happen. Because the two stocks, Apple was pretty much what I wanted, SMCI was what I wanted, so that should have been enough. Sometimes the easier path is sticking to your plan, and again, it is fine that I found something that got me green, but I'm considering it a fluke because it was actually a trade that I wouldn't have taken without the observation of someone in the chat, and then giving it a little bit more thought. I was like, yeah, this probably is gonna be a nice scalp trade. You should always make sure that you are going to your top ideas and setups first and then worrying about everything else. Because when they work, they should be able to carry the day for you. Ultimately, I think I got lucky here finding something else, but it should have been Apple, it should have been SMCI. Didn't execute well on either one of them. Both of them were perfect in their direction, almost all the way through. And I just heard Sharif say this, so I'm gonna double check. I was gonna do this anyways, I just heard something about Eli Lilly. We know we're waiting for some headlines. Looks like that just popped the high and right back in. Your lesson of the day, remember your A+ setups and your best ideas. When they work perfectly, you've got to allow them to carry the day for you. It's all well and good to find a C or B setup that ends up paying the bills, but it's a lot easier to stick with your A setups. So there's your lesson of the day. I got to do better when it comes to both SMCI and Apple when they work the way they did. Good luck, everybody, and hopefully Lilly goes back to the highs.
We got exactly what we thought we were going to get here with regards to this announcement from Trump. He comes on just before 12 p.m., just as I was finishing the Happening Now segment. Eli Lilly having a bit of a pop here. Keep an eye on Lilly and Novo Nordisk. Both of these companies announcing that they've struck a drug deal here with the U.S. to cut the pricing for their GLP-1 drugs. Apparently, the first oral doses here of both Lilly and Novo's GLP-1s will be priced at $149 on Trump RX. Both companies will also get a 3-year reprieve from tariffs as a result of this deal. Keep an eye on the drug sector, so any of these names in the healthcare space. Specifically, he also mentioned previous deals made with AstraZeneca and Pfizer, so keep an eye potentially in those two as well. And also, keep an eye on Hims and Hers and GDRX, so any name that also has their own online prescription type situation, because Trump is making it very clear these deals are going to be available on Trump RX, which is the government's website here with regards to drugs and prescriptions. So interesting look there. If I have more details, I'll let you know. But Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk certainly reacting to this. Lilly actually with a stronger volume candle almost now than our opening candle. Back to Joe and Sharif.
Pardon me? You got it? Okay. Yeah, I'm listening to this. This is going to be terrible for the companies, guys. These are very margin compressing numbers. He's talking about $50 copays for certain seniors. Yesterday, we heard more along the lines of $150. Now he's saying some Medicaid patients are going to be receiving it for $50. I think that there's probably going to have to be an income qualification there for that kind of copay, but that is not good news. Now, if I'm one of these companies, I limit my supply to Medicaid, bro, because if they start dragging more of their inventory into the Medicaid program and they're spending $150 maximum a month on that, while Hims and Hers has like $600.
Yeah,
that is insanely margin compressing and definitely not good for the companies. So sure. I personally wouldn't even want to make a deal that's like that. But then you don't want to say no to Donald Trump and then raise his ire and become the focus of. The focus for Donald Trump, you don't really want that either. So very, very interesting, very interesting. He has a website called Trump RX, by the way, guys, if you guys want more information on that. Very interesting announcement here, Joey.
Absolutely. As for Tesla, guys, you can see that we got stopped up at the break of the support level, and then sure enough starts to climb a little bit higher, just the nature of the beast and trading. Now I'm just looking at Palantir potentially as a long. I don't see anything specific in which I like. It is pretty extended from VWAP. But again, I don't want to get played and give away the majority of my day. I mean, I mentioned that we did give away around 99% of our profits on Tesla with those 2 attempts to the long side, which is crazy because it's like, man, I literally put a fraction of the size on any of them. But aside from that, it's just how it works sometimes. So be patient and wait for those quality opportunities. I think precision is going to be extremely key. Are you going to catch the bottom all the time? But just waiting for that exact entry in that price and what you're looking for, I think is extremely important. So RGTI is something that I was looking at as a potential short here, just going with the flow, Sharif, as we're heading towards some key support levels. This downtrend is still fully intact, guys. You can see this. Never mind all the wicks, it's just like whipsaw moves, liquidity grabs. This is still down. The bodies of those candles are touching the top end of this, and now you're heading towards some key support levels. You can correlate that with multiple zones, and if that starts to give out and break down, you can see some more downside there. Let's take a look at the daily and see what we got going on. Same thing, right? So once this floor gives, I think there's going to see that next level could be 28s or anything along those lines. This sucks, man. And you know what? I get it when people are like, man, I'm scared of the market. I'm scared of all of these things, because if you're buying something that's this strong, and say you even buy it in the 50s or whatever it is, it's so tough knowing that there's individuals who are buying RGTI up at $60, and then now you're down 40% from that. Like, you stand zero chance. That's one thing that can be frustrating, but this Wall Street, unfortunately, isn't going to make it easy on anybody.
Okay, guys, MTC's halted up. This is a big move right now, guys, on MTC. This is the one that was sub $1 yesterday that I kind of refused to trade. And look at this move from yesterday up until the highs. This one almost 1,000%, 936%. We might have one to test today, Neil. Yeah, because this one is halted. MTC halted at 270. Before we go to the desk, I'm just going to give you the information on it, the time that it was halted, as well as the top. So which one are we going to take off here? We're going to have to take off. No, I can't take off that one. So we're going to have to take off MSAI. So MTC is the ticker. I believe it is on the NQ. Okay, so here's the deal. Halted 12:09. Earliest it'll be open is 12:17:09. The top is at 296, just south of 3, guys. We halted at 270. We're going to keep an eye on this one. Going to the big desk.
Yeah, just keep an eye here. The Trump announcement still happening. He said that many widely used drugs are going to be sold at a 60% discount, of course, via Trump RX, which is going to open, he said, by the end of the year, at least with price availability. He also said that if there is a negative Supreme Court decision on tariffs, basically them deciding not to uphold the tariff, it would be, quote, devastating for the country of the U.S. I have to talk about Google as well. Not too much of a move on this, but I think this is interesting, especially with DraftKings reporting after the bell. He is saying, or we have a Google and Kalshi anyway here, announcing that they are going to be entering a partnership for prediction markets. So Kalshi with Google Finance prediction market partnership. They're going to add Kalshi's prediction markets, it sounds like, on Google Finance. If I get more details, I'll let you know. Sounds like David Ricks, CEO of Eli Lilly, and Mike Dustar, CEO of Novo Nordisk, are both present. So if there's any comments there, I'll let you know. Eli Lilly pulling back a bit, guys. Back to you.
Just giving it to 22. Guys, IOVA, these are the type of trades that keep me up at night. It's never the ones that are good trades. It's funny enough how that works. That you know, think about later and sort of stew over. This is the one, guys. Right, 1 penny above the stop, and then it rockets up to 40. I'm talking about IOVA up 32%.
Yeah, bro. Look at this. Look at this here. It's the same thing, right? Like, it's like boom, boom, you get into it, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's the thing that will just like drive you bonkers, man. It drives you bonkers.
There it goes.
Yeah, I know. It's gone now.
It's
gone.
Man.
Do you want to cover that? Want to cover something here?
Joey,
real quick?
well, go ahead. I mean, what am I going to say? It's at the high of the day and I'm not in it.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. You got to, see, that's the thing, man. You got to take those ones directly on the chin, and hopefully it just doesn't matter. I take them. Sometimes you just want to, man. Big time, man. Like, you're just like, what a joke. Okay, as for 35, Jake the Snake Roberts. Thank you for, or Jake Roberts Snake. Okay, sorry, it was Jake the Snake. So anyways, you know what I'm getting at. $35 strike price with 33,700 contracts. That's a fantastic thing for pointing that out. I appreciate that, because I was thinking about going short at that level. And I don't know if it's going to be a good idea currently right now. We got to see what the options labs, or the heavy individual, the shark that is holding those specific contracts, and what they want to. But that's acting as a complete American defense system right now. 35 holding up relatively strong, Sharif. All
right, it's going to be a 10-minute halt at a minimum here on MTC, as 1709 came and went, and no print. So MTC halted to the upside. It's up 22% only, but just take a quick look. If you have, obviously, the chart there up on your screen, and look at what it did yesterday from top to from bottom to top, I should say, about a little bit less than 1,000% move. Started its life well below $1. When all was said and done, we were markedly above that dollar. So keeping my eye on that. And then this one, IOVA, rejecting 250. If this comes down, I'm going to pick this up off 230 if it makes it all the way down. We'll have to wait and see there. But I see a super came in there. Okay. Health Hutchinson, I think. I can't read the other part of the name. Sharif. In America, you can order GLP-1 for under $50 all day. No doctor appointment, no RX, etc. Trump acting like 150 is helping people is insane. But brother, are those legal? Are they the actual ones made by Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, or are they the compounded ones that are made locally at the pharmacies? Because we know what happened with that. They were allowed, the pharmacies that is, were allowed to compound these so long as the ingredients for the GLP-1s was on back order. And when that wasn't the case anymore, they were prohibited from doing so, yet they continued to do it, which caused, obviously, the lawsuit between the originating manufacturer and some of these compounding pharmacies. So I completely respect what you have to say, and I'm not questioning your information, but I'd like a little bit more details. So just if you can respond, you don't have to super chat again. Shout out to Health. I do appreciate you giving us context on that, Joey. What do you got over there, bro?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's all good. I'm only messing with you, Neil, 100%, brother. You know that. So, no, guys, I'm looking at Palantir. We're going to avoid this Tesla. So let's get over onto that next potential trade that we're looking at. Again, PLTR. I want to take that break of that 35 level on RGTI. If the momentum starts to pick up drastically, I think that's going to be a good play. But that put wall is most definitely a factor on today's session. So Jake Roberts, fantastic call out. Otherwise, I would have been like, why? And then when I was in the why? Yeah, I like that. What is that? What song is that? Why?
I think it's Michael Jackson, right?
Tell me
that it's human nature. Why?
Yes.
Why? Does it have to be
that's a great one, man. No, but in all seriousness, back to the markets.
Neil's going right into the headphones.
That's right.
He's pulling that bad boy up right away.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. But no, guys, again, we'll pull up what we're looking at here. We got NVDA on our eyes. Palantir, why for this specific print? As it's holding some support levels. I'm going to wait for that additional liquidity grab. And this is what I'm talking about, 35 holding up to a T, almost to the penny on RGTI. We cut the short on QBTS, and now that's heading towards some support levels. Let's pull up with Jake.
Bro,
Jake,
come on, bro.
What happened, bro?
No, man. I'm going to have to remove that comment, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Shouldn't have done that.
No.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, we're ready.
All right, Joey, I got to tell him something here. And now, for some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the stream. Beta Pro by Global X Canada. That's Canada's largest provider of leveraged, inverse, and inverse leverage ETFs. They've just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs. They're offering you guys 3 times bull as well as 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and on U.S. Treasuries. And if you want even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points all until New Year's Eve. Yes, December 31st, 2025, plus the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, which offers the potential for pure performance and exposure. So if you're a tactical, sophisticated trader and you're looking to amplify your performance, you need to check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Joey.
Learn more. Yes, thank you for that. All right, there goes NVDA to the downside, guys. Another leg, 187.47, and continuing to bleed. So keep an eye out on that one. I mean, if you're going to grab anything, it's like, hey, I wanted to get involved in this market. What do you got over there?
We took RGTZ.
Oh, you did? You got the break? Oh, it broke.
Yeah. No. I waited for 25s, bro.
Man,
oh, we waited too.
Oh.
We had small ambitions, Joey, because it went to 29.
It broke,
breaking
brother.
into the high of the day. Regetti, mom's freaking spaghetti. We took the inverse ETF long, guys. Good move today. Sorry to interrupt you.
Good one, because I was looking at that too. I was about to hop on that streak. I'm glad one of us got to take advantage of that move in the break of the key support levels. Did you see what Jake the Snake was? Jake Roberts was saying, and we were talking about? So there's a put wall at 35. So essentially on the inverse of that, once that broke, then sure enough, that momentum to the downside, that's where you see that pop on. Yeah. So it broke. So whatever's going there, maybe those try to start selling some more puts or buying
MTC
up.
open, Joey.
Go ahead.
MTC open. I'm panicking here. I can't get the look.
Why?
MTC's open. We're going long over here, Joey. Come hell or we're not allowed. Oh, there we go. All right, now we got it. Let's see what we can do here on MTC. Looking for continuation. We got 11. It's not a great price, obviously. Let's see if it holds 3. If it doesn't, I'm going to stop out. So 3013. We're going to give back a little bit on that one. Let's see if it comes down into the halt level. The halt level's 268. So I can't give it all the way down there. I'll have to wait a little bit until this one settles the hell down. But this is a multiple halter, so we know this one has the opportunity to give the goods over here. Seller at 3. Let's see if we can finagle past that seller into the high of the day, Joey. What do you got?
All right, man. I was just going through my emails, hoping for maybe a little e-transfer from somebody here.
Oh, no, you're still waiting.
What do you got?
Okay. Oh, no.
Adara? Yeah.
Yeah, take a look here at KVUE. Kind of out of nowhere, we had President Trump ask HHS, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Bobby, have your thoughts changed at all on Tylenol for pregnant women? Because people are saying they have. And he said, my thoughts will change when the science changes. So looks like RK Jr. is still warning against the use of Tylenol for pregnant women. Again, really, really odd non sequitur happening here within this larger meeting. But either way, KVUE going to be on watch. It also happens to be earnings day 1 for this name. Back to you.
All right, I was going to ask you the exact same thing, man. All right, QBTS. Let's maybe get involved in that short again. We had that one working. It is selling the lower end of the range. We don't necessarily do that. Man, those garlic sticks were fire. Let's pull this up, QBTS. We'll head over to the 1 minute, that short off of the VWAP breakdown, boom. And then sure enough, yeah, we get stopped out about 5, 10, 15% right there. No biggie. But this is this support level I'm looking to snap, 2860. On any form of a pullback like we're experiencing here on RGTI, might be a good opportunity to get involved. I'm glad that I didn't take that Palantir long. Falling knife completely in play here, so take that into consideration. Oh my, that is not pretty whatsoever. You're down 15% off of those highs on Palantir, heading towards some key support levels. Once that breaks, what is that next zone to look for? I'm thinking 163 roughly, and that's going to not be good. Again, it's tough buying right now, but if you're patient, sit on your hands a little bit, I think you're gonna get some great names at some great prices.
All right, guys, MTC, we're taking prints on this one, getting the dips, going back in. I think the best print I have is like at 20, but right back into my entry again. I do have a dip trade below 3 to try to get some money fills there, but if it really starts bleeding, I'm going to have to flatten out. So good look right now on MTC. We all saw what this monster did yesterday, and here it goes again. Okay, there's a seller into the high teens. Let's wet the beak there. There it goes, and there is the print through 30s. Go MTC, go. Neil, where am I supposed to be looking here, Neil? Because I don't see LU limit up, limit down. LULD is what I'm looking for there. 3 1/4. We've got 304s. There's 334. Here comes 40, 50. Joseph, there is the break, man. Here we go on MTC. Don't want to take out any more over here. This one's really going. We're going to take one more beak wetter, and then we're going to let this one run. 55%. We all saw what this hot garbage did yesterday. Ooh. It's around for a good time, Joey. We know where this is going to end up after it's done doing its little thing there.
Where's it going to end up?
Going back under $1.
Oh.
No, we don't know. We never know. I'm not Sharif Dadamis over here, but we're going to keep
Sharif Dadamis.
Oh, my goodness. Who's that? Who? Is that like Austin?
That was 316, baby.
Oh my goodness. All right, looks like we're zigging and zagging here at 35s. Joey, all the way back down into the $0.25. Should we be picking up some more here? Single digits just flashed there. Quickly, candle of indecision as we zig and zag in the 20s. I have to concentrate a little bit here, so I'll send it to you, brother.
Yes, sir. Jay, yeah, man, I'm green on the day. Sharif, I don't know, he'll tell you guys later on in the session wherever he lays. But, I mean, we're taking a couple of losses. This was the biggest winner. And obviously what I had going on with TSLL, that was a nice trade. But unfortunately, I didn't take enough off at the tops here. I did get stopped out 50%, but that was a big-time move as I doubled up the position with that momentum to the top side up to 22.40s. And then we get stopped out break even, and then we go half the size here, and then I go fraction of the size here. And then sure enough, we are just holding on by a thread to the greenness on Tesla. But our other trade on QBTS was absolutely the banger of the day. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to allow that to happen to me once again. We're going to take the majority of that trade off and leave the rest for a runner. And sure enough, it came back to the break-even, Jake. So we just got out of that one. What are you looking at there, Jay? Gorev, Los Pollos, you've been quiet, my friend. Hope everything's good on your end. I did see you in the chat and I tagged you, but sometimes you do need to lock in. As soon as I get the green light to go, we'll rock over to Adara. Not yet. All right, there it goes.
Yeah, just be aware here. We still have some Fed speak. And it's interesting, too. Fed's Williams talking a little bit about AI, saying that there, quote, will be some issues with AI regarding the labor market. He is not. This is not the first Fed comment I've seen today with that in mind, so just be aware. A lot of these Feds saying that some of these labor market issues we know they've been worried about could actually be AI-related, kind of an interesting note. Fed's Hammock also, once again, continuing to be pretty hawkish, saying that now is a challenging time for monetary policy making and that the Fed's bigger miss is on the inflation side relative to the job mandate. So interesting look, saying that inflation overshoots actually go beyond tariff pressures as well. So what Fed's Hammock saying is, sure, people are worried about tariff-related inflation, but she's thinking even without tariff-related inflation, there is an inflation problem. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Dara, we're going to momentarily, Sharif, unless you have anything, I'm going to start pulling up some of the earnings reports if you want to cover that. But I know you're concentrating. Sorry, so I'll continue going. I forgot you're doing that. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to go over some of the earnings reports and the expected moves this evening. So we'll pull up our calendar. We'll go through the names. And then after that, we're going to see what we got going on. The trade desk. IREN, that was on the options activity this morning. So keep an eye out on that. SoundHound, Open, DraftKings, MP Materials, Archer, Airbnb, SMR. Oh my days, it's going to be another one after the close today, guys. We're going to have a bunch of fun with this. Affirm, oh wow, Take Two. Okay, we got a lot going on. I like this. Yesterday's lineup was absolutely phenomenal, so hopefully we can get an additional move. Now let's pull up our options expected move here. Boom, we'll pull that up. And there we are. Okay, the first one of the day. Let's go with TTD and see what we're going to be looking at for today's session, folks. As for an expected, get that garbage out of here. Get that garbage out of here. But we start off with TTD. It's at the top of the list. Beautiful stuff. All right, guys. So we are looking at a 16.1% expected move with a high of around 54.31 and a low of around 39.23. Did I hear anything for Adara there? No. Okay, so there's that. That's TTD. We'll go over the options activity momentarily. Actually, why not do it right now, considering we're sitting on that? Pull up on TTD. Pull up. And then, sure enough, do we see any call or put walls? Nothing substantial, guys. I mean, tomorrow's the expiration cycle. Look at the at-the-money IV. Out of the wazoo, 373% is insane. So those premiums are going to be extremely, extremely expensive. The largest concentration of open interest is going to be at that 60 strike price. And watch out, guys. There's going to be some liquidity issues as well, too, because you can see that the volume is only within the hundreds. Now moving on to the next one. We'll do a couple of them, and then we'll send it back to Sharif whenever he's...
I'm ready to go,
You're ready to go?
This thing is flying, bro.
You ready to go? Go ahead, brother.
All right, we got 50s. We just took out 45s, guys. It keeps popping down into 3. I keep picking more up. Let's see when this trade runs out of steam, man. We got 15s on right now. We just took out 40s. Seller at 30. There's 34. There's 37. Continuing to watch here. There's 44, man. Boom, into the high. Here comes the $0.50. It is a 49-penny high right now on MTC. This one's got a day to play and then some. We're above 55%. We're taking prints. I've got a dip trade trade here at 7, 307 to defend that $3 area, but I don't think that that's the right thing to do anymore because the current pattern here is certainly higher lows. So I may find myself in the uncomfortable position, it's uncomfortable for me, maybe not for others, of punching into highs. But we all know, what the small cap traders, on the net do. They're punching into highs. There's 49 again, and it rejects again. So there's a seller at around the $0.50, 49, 48s. We have no prints above the $0.50 quite yet. Yeah, Ozan, I will take 69 if it goes up there. You know how I do. Shout out to the OG Ozan. Packing the patience here on MTC, looking for continuation. This current candle has a higher low, certainly, than the prior candle of indecision. There's 49 again, and there's 75, Joseph, into the high. Boom on MTC. I just destroyed everything over here, Joey.
You're dropping
everything. Everything happened.
Unplugged out of
it all
everything.
Happened at the same time there,
what
Joey.
happens, man.
All right, so nice trade there on MTC. Sorry? All right, I thought he was talking to me. 71.75 now, Joey. Here we go again. This is all gas, no brakes. I'm looking for limit up, limit down. I still can't find it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. And Neil's looking for it too. We've been looking for this thing all day. I might want to get back into this thing, man, because this thing looks like it is destined for $4. I'm going to look for micro pullbacks. One method that I've used is to use the 5-second chart to kind of discern little areas of trend support. There's a buyer here of note at 70. We're going to get in here. It loses 70. I'm flattening out. I'm going to flat out. It's going to lose 70. So we'll take out that break even. Look at the monster buyer at 70. Look at all the gateway prints there. It's going to have to lose it. It loses a good out there by me on that because you could just see that there was a buyer at 70, but there was so much selling at these levels. There goes the $0.50. Continuing to watch here on MTC, 60%, and it's off the highs. This could be the micro pullback we're looking for now. Let's wait for the first 5-minute candle to make a new high on the 5-second chart, and then I'll punch in. Looking. No, not quite yet. Still, that's what I'm looking at on my top screen, guys. I'm not crazy. I'm not looking into the lights, I promise. So we're going to continue to watch here. Anything above 370, definitely going to get into that one. But right now, we're still on a bit of a pullback, making lower highs. No newer highs that I'm seeing quite yet. Anything above 70 gets me back into the trade, Joey.
Yeah, yo, that made me chuckle when you're like, I'm not looking. Bro's just trying to feel something, pain or anything. Remember, I was telling you about that. Yeah, you're just trying to feel something. Looking into the lights is crazy. Man, there's a video of these guys at the gym, and like Buddy has like a piece of paper, and he's just like giving his buddy paper cuts, and they're acting like they're working out, and then he's like whacking a scooter off his shin and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely hilarious. All right, guys, as for IREN, here it is. We're looking at a approximate 16.4% expected move, $9.70 to either direction. That's going to put us at, 13.2, and that's going to put us at a high of around 77.55 or a low of around 59.42. And where do we have the highest level of open interest to the put side? Right at that $60 strike price. So there it is, guys, 15,800 right at that specific level. And then you can see at 80 and 79. There's a little bit of a concentration. Go ahead.
Yeah, bro, it's going, Joey. Here we got back in at 67s. We just took out 88s. Here we go. I'm going to have to pick up the dips here because it doesn't look like it's going to be just as directional as I would like. So this one's quite strong at the moment. Looking for trend to hold up. Anything below 55 pennies gets me out of this trade. That's prior area low. I've put in a beak wetter there for we just got a pullback into that area. Let's see if we can pick up some here. We're going to pick up some there at that level. What do we got on 65s now? So let's go ahead and post a little bit higher. Looking for trend continuation on this, Joey, but worried that a 55 print gets me out of this trade. In fact, it will. Now we're at 60, so we might have to give back a little bit here as this one zigs and zags, and it does feel like it's going to lose a level, so I'll just send it back to you here, brother.
All right, brother. So yeah, here's Soundhound. That's going to be next up on the docket. We're looking at a 13.4% expected move with a high of around $16.72 and a low of around $12.78. As for the options activity, let's take a gander Newfoundland at that. And see what we got going on. Okay, $18. Wow, look at that open interest at that specific level, guys. 42,000. I was not expecting that, and the concentration at 1850. As for the put side, but I like this. I'm going to be keeping my eye on all of these names come after the bell, because if we reject 18 aggressively, I'm going to look for the short, and best believe I'm going to be putting on some size. So that is SoundHound. The next is going to be, did I even mention it? OpenDoor. Get that garbage out of here, man. $6.84, 13.4% expected move, high of around $7.76, and a low of around $5.93. We're going off to Adara. Don't forget to drink your daily water. I was just telling myself as my headache slowly starts to brew up. Adara, what do you got for us?
Drink that water, guys. I just want to let you know, unfortunately, it seems like an individual at the White House had a medical emergency on camera, so they have now cut the feed. So just so you guys know right now, no more Lilly and Novo info as of right now. Understandably, this conference seems like it's been paused right now due to a medical emergency. So if this resumes, I'll let you know. But either way, medical emergency causing this Eli Lilly and Novo drug pricing conference to be cut short for the time being. Back to you.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, keep us updated, obviously, as always there. All right, we're moving on to the next one. That is going to be Donkey Kong. DraftKings, yes, guys, you guessed it. We are looking at an 8.6% expected move, $30.72 is the high, and then $25.84 is the potential low. Let's pull up the options chain to see if anything is correlating with those specific levels that we have been giving on the implied move. Now, what was our high again on this one? 30 bucks. And there it is, guys, $30, 7,930 contracts. No coincidence there. You're going to see a little bit at 32, so keep an eye on it. Volume is just horrendous on DraftKings expiration. We can go to a further dated out to see if we get any change. At the money's putting in the most volume, but other than that, very liquid, which is slightly surprising to me. Now, moving on to the next one before we send it back on to my boy Sharif, Don Sharifo. That's what they, no, you said Sharif Adamas. Okay, we got that. 7.4% expected move, $56 is going to be the potential high with $48.26. MP Materials, I don't think the options activity is going to be anything outstanding, but why not take a look to see if we have some key levels about to step within that zone. Now, again, I was right, $65, 9,160 at that level. As for the put side, we're not going to see that much activity except for things that are already ITM there, Sharif.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this one's breaking down now, guys. Coming down, here comes prior bar low, 13.13. We're at that level right now with 13.18 showing up over here. Do we make prior bar low or do we breach prior bar low? Feels like we will. 16's coming up now. I'm trying to see if we can pick it up here for a nice area of support and then just give it to like 15's, which is exactly what I'm going to do, and then it's going to fail, obviously. So we have to, oh, that's not what I want to do there, Joey. So there we go. We got 18's on, so let's give it to 12's, and then we're going to go like that. Just for that many shares there. Let's see if we can get a nice move up here on MTC into an area. No, it's going to fail that level. Looks like we will give back a couple of pennies there, which is okay with me because, well, we have to give this one the old college try. So that's the way it is there. MTC breaking down a little bit now. $3 could be a move, but there's also 282 where the 10 EMA is coming out. So that $3 level, let's see if that $3 level holds. Not quite there yet. 306 showing up, 305. So the blood is on right now. The shorts are definitely in control of this one at the moment. $3, dropping below 297s. The 10 EMA, as I mentioned, is 284. Prior halt level takes us to 268. Buyers stepping in at 3 now. Is it just a dead cat bounce with shorts covering their position? Or is this more of a sustained uptrend? Let's see if there's anything above 15. 15 was an interesting area of support as well earlier on. So let's see if we can get a nice move up there on MTC. Continuing to watch this one. But MSAI is all gas, no brakes right now, guys, into that $0.50 level. I wanted to point this one out. It was quite quiet the majority of the day. Then it started really getting the volume candles, I want to say around 20 after. So be on the lookout for that. That one could be an interesting small cap gapper as well. No other ones are really making the kind of move that we're looking at there right now. There comes MTC again into 15s, rejects 15s, looking at the 5-second chart on the top screen. Looking to see if it moves above 15 and then starts changing trend, because right now you can just feel that the downtrend is in play with the pops being short covers. Obviously, they got to get out somehow, and that makes pure sense, because there we go, right back down into 3 again, rejecting 315. So technical levels on the shorter term time frame continuing to hold up. 3 back in play. Prior area low, which is the area that we dipped into below 3, is 294. Let's see if we breach 294 now. If we hold up here and we break 315, I'm going to go long. That would be an interesting level breakout for me. So continuing to watch, higher low. Can we get a higher high up here? Looking at 310, still a seller in and around 310. I don't want to take 315 breakout on the dot. I'd rather it, pass it a little bit for a possible other move up. But MTC right now in a bit of a downtrend, Joey, with really no bid here from buyers. You feel like the bid that's coming in are just short covers. All right, there's 13 popping up, not quite yet above 15 yet. Continuing to watch MTC, watching. Yeah, all the dips are getting bought up, to be fair, but it's definitely not rocketing up in the same way. So I don't feel that the longs are in control at the moment, brother. So I'm going to steer clear of this one for now.
I like that thesis, man. I agree with you 110%. They're just short covers at the end of the day, and they're not even aggressive whatsoever, Sharif. A lot of these pops are just getting immediately faded, as he mentioned not too long ago. Okay, all right, guys, we're on to the next one. That is going to be Archer Aviation, and we are looking at approximately 8.8% expected move with a high of around $9.79 and a low of around $8.19. All right, we'll pull over to the old chain and see what we got going on from open interest standpoint. Where's the highest level? Right there at 13 bucks, or sorry, 11. We got a lot of concentration there. 1.4 thousand contracts traded, 8,740 traded on or still currently open. Now, I mean, this is a beautiful lineup. I think this is a great lineup for after the bell, and I'm really looking forward to trading it. I mean, regardless of anything sets up or not, I think we're going to have some good opportunities, especially in the strategy that I was talking to you guys about earlier in the day. Is just essentially the 5-minute opening range break after that print. All right, so now as for Airbnb, 7.3% expected move with a high of around 129.15 and a low of around 111.53. Pull up the chain. It's just a rinse and repeat until you see something that you really like. And what I was talking about earlier is that we had a high concentration of open interest in essentially a call wall, and I believe something that it was IREN. Or one of those names. I'm like, hey, if it rejects that level, look for the continuation of the downward pressure. Now, A, B, and B. I've never, surprisingly, actually, I've only gotten one Airbnb in my life.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I was younger, yeah. So again, guys, at the money IV, relatively high. You're going to see it around 178%. Options market pricing that in. But as for the activity, it is pretty cool. You're going to see very, very illiquid as you head lower in the strikes. And I guess if these are all out the money, you'll see some more activity up there, but not too good of a look. Be cautious of that one. Straddles and strangles are going to be tough, especially if you can't get out of the position. So nothing to really keep an eye out on there. Next one is SMR. All right. New Scale Power. Take a look at this one here, guys. 12.1% expected move. These are all in the price range I love as well, too, guys. So $38.95 is going to be that high, with $30.53 going to be that low. Rinse and repeat. What is the options chain telling us there, Sharif? On SMR. And not too much. There's no open interest there, Sharif. What do you got?
All right, guys. For too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But that's all changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: the discipline, the consistency, and of course, yes, that growth. When you hit the profit target, you keep up to 70% of the profits. There's no fear and no barriers, just real opportunities, guys. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it's all powered by Trade the Pool. So visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on the screen to get 10% off your first evaluation. Shout out to the good folks at Trade the Pool. Shout out to Mitch and Company. And sorry for having stolen your microphone again, Mitch. I did not mean to do that.
That was
I don't
crazy.
know how it found its way into my bag, Joe. I really don't.
Oh, yeah.
It was in the side pocket.
Where was it? Like over here, right?
Over here. Right there. It was,
That's
I don't know.
crazy.
how
It just
got
crawled there,
brother.
man.
Like,
Had
you have my
legs.
word. I have no idea how it got there.
Well, I mean, I'm sure if you were trying to steal them, you wouldn't have said, "Hey, man, sorry that these."
I thought it was Ram.
Oh, you thought it was
Yeah,
Ram?
I thought like I
Oh, you
found
did-
it at home. I sent a picture of it to Ram. I'm like, my bad. Are you looking for this? I took it.
Oh, no.
And she's like, that's not mine.
Oh,
That's Mitch's. I hope Brendo sent it back. I gave it to Brendo.
Yeah, it's expensive these days, man. To mail that stuff, you gotta wait till next time he gets back here.
Yeah, man.
To get that stuff.
Absolutely.
We don't got the. We don't.
You know
got-
what I saw on my street yesterday when I was walking home? A Fisker.
Oh yeah.
Remember
you see
those
them ones?
cars?
Yeah, the Fisker.
I remember
Yeah,
like they were like 65 grand. Then I saw some of the used car salespeople.
Yeah.
Randy, I saw a Fisker on my street yesterday. Did you? Yeah. And I don't know who has the heart to buy that. What if it breaks down? How are you going to fix it?
Yeah,
I mean,
you
who's
can't-
even supporting that
You have to
company
be
anymore?
There used to be a one in.
Amazon.
There was one in Liberty Village that I seen for years.
Fisker?
Yeah, and I
like
just stopped seeing.
like the old Fisker or
Yeah.
the SUV Fisker Ocean?
No, the
old one?
No, the sports car one.
Like the sedan or the
Yeah,
SUV?
the sedan.
The sedans are cool. Those
Yeah.
are hybrids. No, the new Fisker is like all electric.
It looked pretty cool. It was like a almost like a supercar type look.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be like that hybrid. But it's just like that is, where is that car company now, man? Is it
They're done,
even
man.
on
They're
the
bankrupt.
exchange? FSR? FSRQ? FSRQ? Is that it? No, I don't even know where they are, dude. Yeah, so anyway, it still looks good though, man. I remember really liking that car, and it had solar panels and it had all that stuff, but they couldn't make it work. Sucks. What do you got, Joey?
All right, let's pull up, man. We got a lot of names to go. I don't think we do anymore, but I mean, we're just starting to pluck them off on the list here. I don't know what NO data is, so we're gonna skip that one, go straight to. Someone said in the chat, we say it like a firm.
Of course we do. We're Canadian.
Yeah, come on. Get with the program. AFRM, the funds. Don't forget the fund said A. So there it is, 12%, guys. $75 is going to be that high with a low of around $59. We can take a look at the options activity on this one. It's probably going to be relatively cool. AFRM. But man, it's a B-lister star-studded night. Okay, so there it is. What was that high again? Roughly here, 75 bucks.
FSRQ.
Then let's take a look at what we got at 75 and 74. So you're going to start to see that concentration at those levels there. We went through a lot of names. We got one more, and that's going to be Take Two Interactive. TT do Take Two, and see what we got going on this front. 7.1% expected move, high of around 273.25 and a low of around 237. TTWO. And see what we got in options activity. Super cool, not cool, man, not cool as for the options activity. But there it goes, guys. We're starting to get a slow curl around in some of these markets. A nice little bounce that we're experiencing. There was a nice indecision print off of the lows here on NVDA that is now about to give you 2 points. You're about 25 cents away from that specific level. You're getting a new high past this peak in Tesla, so it stopped me out on this liquidity grab, and then just decided to trade a little bit higher. Now Palantir starting to curl off the lows as well too, guys. I have Meta that's at the volume weighted average price. Let's see what Robinhood is doing the exact same thing, starting to curl back to VWAP. With this specific move, I'm going to be looking for the rejections of the volume weighted average price. Until then, you might get a little bit of a grind higher, but these quantum names, tough to trade. This is just a choppy mess. Adair, what do you got? Adair, what do you got?
Coinbase and CRCL. We know Jamie Dimon speaking earlier today about stablecoins. Also speaking about stablecoins is Fed's Hammock. Fed's Hammock making a comment here on stablecoins, saying that they are, quote, an exciting new technology. So a couple different people, including a Fed and a bank CEO, mentioning stablecoins today. Nice bounce off the lows for both CRCL and COIN right now, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, I don't got anything right now. Sharif, you got something?
Yeah, I'm just watching MTC, brother. It's holding three candles of indecision at these levels. I'm deciding whether or not I want to punch long. I don't know if the shorts are still in control or what. We're going to get long here. We're going to give it to the break of the 10 EMA. So that takes me down into the high 80s, low 90s. So we'll go ahead and do just that right now, and then we'll just put that in there. I'll put some beak wetters for a price spike up, but yeah, looks like it might be selling off a little bit over here as it dips again below that $3 area, but bought right back up into 305s. So we'll see the seller at 5 now. So seller at lower level every single time. It looks like it's using.
You can sneak me a garlic steak.
Pardon me? I thought you were talking.
No. You don't want it?
Well, there you go. She
thanks.
does have some kind bones in her body. Shocking. So we'll keep watching.
Because we're friends.
Sorry? Well, yeah. I mean, I think friend for her is like what you know, what she may be able to finagle. All right, we're going to Madeira.
More Fed speak, this time from Fed's Myron. Now, we have to contextualize this comment with the fact that Fed's Myron is notably very dovish, and the fact for the last 2 Fed meetings he's advocated for larger cuts than what the Fed actually delivered. But either way, he just made comments on a podcast saying that he expects a December rate cut. So even though Fed's Powell and a lot of other Feds, and even the CME Fed Watch tool, have been a little bit cautious about this December rate cut and the likelihood of it happening, Fed's Myron saying they still want to cut, or he at least still wants to cut in December. He also said here that he wants to get to the neutral rate in 50 basis point increments, repeating things he's already said, but his colleagues want 25 basis point increments. So once again, Fed's Myron kind of echoing this narrative he delivered earlier this week that he and his colleagues want the same things, he just wants those things at a much faster rate. Back to you.
We're live here doing it, Joey. Their breakout is on into 50. Let's see if we can work our way up, or whether it's just going to be a 50 rejection and a drop back down. So I'll send it to you, brother.
All right, cool, man. Good look there. Let's see what we can potentially find as you're starting to get an indecision print off of those lows, QBTS. As Mike Peter Ryder would like to say, he's just going to go hunting right now, and that's just kind of what I'm trying to do, find something for a potential bounce. That put wall on RGTI coming into play might potentially break this downtrend, which is going to be pretty cool as you're heading into the top end of this resistance zone in this trend line. So once that snaps and maybe you get a 5-minute candle to break and sit on top of this, we can go back towards the volume weighted average price. So that's going to be a potential one. Euro Women has a, yeah, exactly. So let's see what we got going on here, the TQs and the SPY. What we haven't done today is ran through our scanner and see if we found anything extremely interesting. SQQs leading the way from the volume front. You can see a nice move there. NVDA with 129 million shares traded on the session. Nice indecision print on the lows. Is the downtrend snapped? I think so. And there it is. You can see that displayed. Now, as for Tesla, what has this dog been up to? Nice rebound there. Stop out. Again, it was a little stop hunt, additional liquidity grab before it decides to make its additional move. What has this name been up to? Thank you that you're back to VWAP. And that's exactly what we want to see. Ford, probably going to be relatively illiquid. AMD, nothing that we got going on. It's curling off of those lows. Now, let's see if there's anything else. We take a look at QBTS, whatever this is, EOSE, Apper. See what Apple's up to there. Nice indecision print at these highs. This could be a potential failed break of the high of the day. Risk profile defined, stop at that high. And if you're looking for that move back into VWAP, but there it is, a beautiful hammer candle right at VWAP, holding these levels, and then you get that move to the top side. Now, as for Amazon, what are you up to? Down to 244. So you're coming off of that 258 high roughly, or whatever, along those lines, not too far off of that specific levels. Warner Brothers, consolidation, not something that we trade every day or is necessarily an intraday trader. Goggles, you know, Katina Man was involved in this. He got that nice pop-up through the VWAP. Now we're trading north of it one more time, so not too bad. If this name wants to rally, then I think we like our chances that the market might slowly start to recover. And some of the losses, anyways, I'm not going to say a full recovery. That's going to be tough. But Microsoft not doing too much as it heads and is around the lower end of this neckline is something that you want to be cautious about there.
All right, brother. Just setting up over here. We're going to start the news now
NVDA.
As it's 5-2-1. It's a heavy news day. I have in my note 16 stories today, so there is plenty to talk about. Unlikely to get through all of it. Let's get right down to business. I just got to set up my blotter and my stops and everything. We're good to go. Let me just make sure that I'm not on a screen that I want to be trading. Let me just 1 second here, guys. Yeah, RGC said we'll put that one on the last screen so that we don't interfere with some of the trading screens. Let's talk about NVIDIA. Interesting comments yesterday that he made with respect to China and where they fit into the AI race relative to the States. He walked back some of it, obviously, but let's get down to it. So, CEO Jensen Huang reportedly told the Financial Times that, quote, China is going to win the AI race, close quote, citing lower energy costs and looser regulations as some key advantages they have over the States. Hours later, he issued a revised statement saying China is nanoseconds behind America in AI. It's vital that America wins by racing ahead and winning developers worldwide. Of course, we know his statement comes as NVIDIA faces heavy restrictions on AI chip sales in China amid U.S. national security concerns. Now, they're getting it from both sides here. They're getting it from the Chinese regulator, and they're getting it at home through the U.S. Commerce Department. Huang confirmed NVIDIA's market share in China has fallen to 0. Those are his words. I thought it was a typo yesterday. No, he repeated that statement. Now, it was 95%. They had 95% of the Chinese AI chip market share back in 22. Now it is 0. So you can see why he would be railing against this. Of course, national security trumps that. No pun intended. He warned that Western regulation and cynicism, those are his words, are slowing AI progress compared to China's aggressive government-backed energy subsidies for AI infrastructure. Separately, Joseph, you and I were talking off camera about this, and I was making the point to you, I think I even said it, that they're stringing thousands and thousands and thousands of these Huawei Ascends, as well as some other non-NVIDIA-like chips, or don't meet the standard of NVIDIA chips together, and they're not energy efficient, but that doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter because they're building out terawatts of energy.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care about the environment.
What do you make of this?
No, I agree, man. I think at some point, too much regulation obviously can put a chokehold on a lot of things. We see that definitely here in Canada, in my opinion anyways. But aside from that, I had a feeling about this race. I mean, we call it a race, but what is the end goal? Because in a race, there essentially has to be a finish line. I don't know if there's necessarily going to be.
Understand that.
Right? Like, what is the finish line?
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
like, did somebody win the internet and we didn't know about
exactly.
it?
Like I don't get it. Like, I understand that, hey, you want to have the best in class, but what is the end goal? This AI stuff is going to go on past our lifetime and multiple lifetimes, and it's just going to continue to grow. So I don't necessarily see a finish line. But as for the regulations, I mentioned it before, man. I'm going to use a prime example is that they tried to, I think here in Canada, they tried to get kids to stop tobogganing on hills. And then at one point, it's just like, well, when are you going to stop, right? Like, you're going to have, kids are going to hurt themselves. That's inevitable.
That's how they learn.
Things are going to happen. It's how they learn. Exactly. And I'm not going to, it's obviously not the same thing, but too much control can obviously slow things and tamper things a little bit.
Yes, sir. All right, Adara, these were fighting words by Jensen yesterday. What do you make of this whole thing?
See, I'm actually going to make the argument that they weren't really, because I've said this many times on the show. Jensen has always said, yo, U.S., China, hey, like, why are we being like this? And he's always said to the U.S., we have to be careful because they aren't that far behind us. Now, I think the drastic kind of do or die way that he worded it yesterday, like the China will win the AI race if the U.S. doesn't catch up. I do think obviously kind of the intensity of that wording maybe makes this seem more serious. But again, this is not even at all like off base from anything Jensen said before. So I was kind of surprised the market was that shocked by it, truthfully, and even more surprised by the fact that the company wanted him to quote unquote walk it down. Now I say quote unquote because again, he didn't even walk it down much. He said China's right behind the U.S., which again, to win a race, you have to get ahead of the other party, right? Assuming this is a race. So yeah, I think my comments, I was shocked that the market cared, but alas, you never know what the market's going to care about. The market did in fact care about these comments. And yeah, interesting look here for NVDA, but I always want to remind people, like, this is not off base for Jensen. This is not a new take for Jensen. He's always been very clear that these concerns here with regards to export controls are in the end going to hurt the U.S. Saying it a little bit more plainly, hopefully now maybe people listen. We'll have to wait and see.
Too, but you know, there's only so much money to go out. Thank you, Adara. All right, let's talk about Eli Lilly. There was multiple headlines, of course. We'll get to those in the intervening period of when this was drafted. But Lilly advances to the next-gen obesity drug after a major trial success. So let's talk about it. They announced plans to begin late-stage trials of its experimental amylin obesity drug. Okay, next month, it's in a 48-week mid-stage study. The highest weekly dose led to an average weight loss of 20.1%, which outperformed the placebo, and it reinforced its leadership. Of course, lower doses still showed significant efficacy. The lowest dose had 9.5% average weight loss. The two-step escalation had 19.9, and the three-step escalation, for whatever reason, resulted in less, 16.4. The results, though, position this new drug as a potential successor or as a complement. Both options are on the table here to be used in replace of or in conjunction with existing GLP-1 treatments like Zepbound and Mounjaro. Just to give you some information about this amylin drug, it's a hormone co-secreted with insulin that helps suppress appetite and reduce caloric intake. The drug mimics this hormone, this amylin, this lintide drug. It mimics this hormone amylin, of course, functioning similarly to GLP-1s, but may improve patient adherence through enhanced tolerability. To me, I infer from that some patients were a little bit intolerant of this. We keep hearing about gastrointestinal issues with GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Looks like this may not be as bad, Joey.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm going to stand that there's probably going to be some effects down the road for taking this for an extended period of time. I mean, I get it. Some people have issues losing the weight. They want a little bit of a boost to help them to do so. But once you've done it, I think it's start to build a healthy lifestyle. And it's going to the gym day to day. It's literally not a fad. It's none of those. It has to be a part of the lifestyle. But as for what's going on with Lilly, we know that let's pull it up here actually momentarily before I eat my words quick. We'll take a look at the technicals and see what we got going on. Now you're getting a little, okay, this is good. This is a lot better than what it was before, considering you're down at 623, now trading up to 950, or no, so where we're currently at is 928. You're up 50% roughly off of those lows, so you're not going to complain about that whatsoever. GLPs, I think it's still going to take the world by storm. The oral pill is definitely going to be the way of the future. People aren't going to want the injectables.
Yeah, before we go to it, Dara, I just want to mention, guys, that we had a news conference earlier with President Trump, the focus of which was the deal that he's trying to strike, of course, with pharmaceutical companies. One of those announcements were that you're going to pay, some co-payers are going to pay up to as high as $150 for these GLP-1s on a monthly basis, of course, with some patients, I'm assuming there's going to be income qualifications, paying as low as $50 co-payments. Now, if we compare that to what Hims and Hers is charging, $600, if you compare it to Lilly Direct, which is $500, that's very margin compressing for the company. So we'll see how much of their market share is going to go to Medicaid and Medicare, but it is not a good look for their margins. All right, Adara, give us your take on this new obesity drug.
Yeah, I'm going to focus less on the new obesity drug and more just kind of on other aspects here with Lilly and Novo Nordisk. And I guess with regards to the new obesity drug, though, I think it plays back into the ongoing competition between Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. So we know Novo Nordisk really has been trying to get more into this space. We know they want that Metsera acquisition. Apparently, they even raised the bid on that. So I think it makes sense here, Lilly, knowing this, just trying to continuously up their game. And so that's why I really, really like the idea of this new drug, the fact that it's doing well. Let's see, again, how it's tolerated, because as you guys mentioned, that's been a bit of an issue with some of these treatments. But either way, if you get like good tolerance on that, I honestly think it's going to be first to the finish line wins, to keep using a race analogy after our friend Jensen Huang did so with the NVIDIA story with AI. But nonetheless, long story short, I think that it's a good look for Eli Lilly. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I do think between Lilly and Nordisk, Lilly's already better positioned. So as long as they keep putting their foot in the door, keep those things going to the upside, then I think it's a pretty good look. We didn't get to hear too much from Eli Lilly CEO David Ricks, and we heard nothing from Mike Dustar because, as mentioned earlier, unfortunately, a medical emergency led to the early termination of this conference. If it is being resumed, which I don't know, it hasn't been yet, but I'll keep you guys posted if there are updates. But yeah, either way here, I think Lilly trying to stay relevant, stay on people's minds, smart look, smart play. Good job, David Ricks, and go Lilly.
All right, let's talk about Qualcomm. Beats on earnings, but faces the Apple overhang. More on that in a second. Let's talk about how they did. It was a strong fiscal Q4 for them. I hate these companies that their fiscal year doesn't match the calendar year. Get your together. Yeah. Adjusted EPS of $3, Joey, on revenue of $11.27 billion, beating the $2.88 expected EPS by the street and the $10.79 billion, $10.79 billion, so an easy beat on the top and bottom line. They also issued an upbeat Q1 forecast. They're projecting now 11.8 to 12.6 in revenue, with EPS coming in at 330 to 350. Android headsets, auto, and Internet of Things, IoT, are responsible for momentum, offsetting the Apple exposure. So what happened here? Qualcomm confirmed it expects to lose Apple as a modem customer in the coming years, as Apple has its own C1 and C2 now 5G modems. Citi, they're not really pumped about that, maintaining the 180 target and keeping them at neutral. Bernstein maintaining their outperform and keeping their target at 215. Likewise with Deutsche Bank, they're keeping their rating at hold, and then 165 price target. And here's how they did in their different segments. Handsets are up 14%. Automotive leading the way, up 17%, with the Internet of Things lagging behind here at 7%. The company reported that margins were slightly softer this time around, 33.8 versus the 34 expected. And they continue, Joey, to expand into PC and data center and AI compute, with more details expected in the first half of 2026 at their Investor Day conference. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to Adara.
Take a look here at AAPL and TSM. Mac rumors reporting that Taiwan Semi has been, quote, reportedly informing major clients like Apple about further price hikes. So AAPL dropping a little bit here, to be fair. Whole market's dropping. If I see anything on that, I'll let you know. But either way, TSM reportedly telling Apple and other major customers there are going to be some more price hikes.
All right, yeah, cool. Go step.
Qualcomm,
Qualcomm, not too bad, man. A double beat, top and bottom line. I like that they're going to look to divest their, expand their investments, whether it be in the automotive and obviously with the smartphones, not too bad. Qualcomm, I thought, was going to be that next name that was going to break out aggressively. You had that strong move all the way up to 205, punching through resistance, and the volume supporting it. I think this is just one of those that's a bad beat, right? If you see this any day of the week and the selling pressure doesn't get as aggressive, then sure enough, you're going to get a continuation in the trend. But the market has been relatively weak within this concentration of days here. So keep an eye out on that. But other than that, the volume supporting it, a retest of the breakout zone. And if it holds and slowly starts to curl over, I like Qualcomm as a potential breakout.
All right, brother. DoorDash misses EPS but raises its spending outlook. Let's talk about Dash. Where are they at? Because they were markedly red on the morning. Oh, no, they're down more. They're just like, they just defended 200. We just hit the $200 area on Dash. Oh, we're actually below that earlier. We got
DoorDash.
190 yesterday, Dory. You like that?
Well, I know. Well, the thing is, I didn't mean to trade. When I went to put on an intentional trade, it didn't work, and I was so infuriated because I had a game plan. I left.
Oh, that's the trade you were telling me about? My bad. I didn't know which one you were talking about. And then I got filled this morning. Tell him what you mean.
I did. I told him, from DoorDash.
Right.
So last night for the earnings report, I was trying to short it from 208, and I'm like, okay, nice. For some reason, I wouldn't catch the fill. It kept the order out, and then this morning, it filled me short at 208, and I got that move down. And I'm like, yes, the trading gods were looking out for your boy finally. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
All right, there's a new IPO, BLLN, just opened up here. We're going to look at it right now. BLLN, I believe on the NQ. We're going to have to find out over here. Just before we go on to the next one, yes, so this one did open up a little while ago, actually. It opened up at 1239, so it's been trading for a little bit here. 120 high. It looks like it opened up at $99 or so. That's what I see there as the opening print candle. So BLLN, I don't have any information on this, but I can give you some other stuff. So the IPO was priced at $60 and it opened up at 105. What the helly? Okay, I'm just continuing to look over here. Just allow me a second, guys. 4.551 million shares. That's what the float is. Yeah, the IPO was priced at $60 per share, and it opened up at 100 and I think I just said 119 or something like that. Give me a sec. 105. Indicated open at 105. Okay. It values the company at $4.4 billion. Here I'm getting more information about it. Here it is. Shares of Molecule Diagnostics Company billion to one jumped 66.67% of their Nasdaq debut on Thursday, giving the company a market value of $4.4 billion. California-based firm raised $273.1 million in the IPO Wednesday by selling 4.6 million shares at $60 a pop. The IPO pricing exceeded the initially targeted price of $49. So it was oversubscribed at the IPO price. It almost opens up double what it was selling at yesterday. They specialize in developing non-invasive prenatal and oncology blood tests using its single molecule sequencing technology. They have a product portfolio includes Unity, its prenatal testing offering, and North Star, which focuses on cancer diagnosis. So there you go, guys. New IPO. They're BLLN. They ballin', baby, because they really are balling. They're up 77 and a dang quarter%. So
fly high.
These guys are definitely balling right now.
Be balling.
Shout out to the balling company.
Ooh.
All right, let's go on with DoorDash over here. Well, we didn't even start it. So DoorDash is hot garbage at the moment, trying to defend 200. I'm kidding, of course. They beat on revenue, but they missed on EPS. EPS came in really light, 55 pennies instead of 69, on revenue of 3.45, beating the 3.36 and growing at a 27% year-over-year pop. The net income, $244 million. That's better than last year, mind you, at $162 million. And their order volume, Joey, 776 million orders, slightly above estimates. Margin compression, though, and higher future investment plans weighed heavily on sentiment, hence why the stock is dropping. They revealed that they plan to invest in several $100 million in 2026 for growth initiatives and infrastructure. Part of those growth initiatives are a new global tech platform, which they'll ramp into in 2026. And a key part of that, Joey, is autonomous delivery technology. They're calling it the DOT robot. And they announced it in September. Hopefully we'll see something like that next year.
Yeah, I mean, the street's not going to like the CapEx spend on this one, Shreve, and you can see that reflected in the price. I was reading up on this report as well last night. So very interesting stuff. If you eliminate the delivery driver, what's that going to do? Increase the margins at the end of the day, and I think that's the overall goal for the majority of these, every company, I think, at the end of the day. But here it is, 199.11 is what we're currently trading at. Big time gap down from yesterday's close, 238. You're down a whopping 16%, a little bit more than that. So keep an eye on for anything that's going to say, hey, are we going to turn around? I mean, we talk about DoorDash getting that massive gap down. Well, obviously, I want to go back to this name here. Meta, obviously, two completely different companies, but same price action here, massive gap down, and then getting that continuation to the downside. I'm going to be patient and wait for those indecisions to display themselves, because they will, and it's the exact same thing with DoorDash. Do I take Meta over DoorDash? I don't care what it is at the end of the day. I'm going to look for the exact same price action prints across the board and see if we can get involved in those.
All right, something's going on with the critical minerals. MP got a spike. USAR got a spike. Criminal got a spike. So I can't see anything on my news blotter, but there was price action pops on all of them. Thank you, Blovin, for pointing that out, brother. I have no idea why. As soon as we do, we will let you know ASAP. But all the material names retracing back down now, so it looks like it was an algo price spike up there. I don't see continuation. That's USAR. Let's have a look at MP. MP also retracing off that 54.75 high. How about Criminal? Criminal, yeah, dropping back off 11.15, dipping down into 10.74. So be on the lookout right now. I don't have any news, but as soon as we do, we'll let you know. Let's go on to the next story, Joey. So the U.S. government has been shut down. I don't know, day 500 now. No, I'm kidding. 37 or 38, something like that. And as a result, the U.S. is going to cut flight capacity by 10%. So let's talk about this. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced a 10% flight capacity reduction across 40 major U.S. airports beginning Friday morning. The move is going to impact about 3,500 to 4,000 flights per frickin' day, marking one of the largest proactive operational cuts in U.S. aviation history. The Duffsters called the action proactive, saying it was necessary, Katina Man, to preserve the safety standards as strain builds on the air traffic system. The reduction has no set end date at the moment, with officials warning further cuts depend on how conditions evolve. FAA Administrator Brian Bedford said the decision came after internal data revealed mounting operational pressure that could threaten system safety. If left unchecked, the FAA is going to meet with airlines, Joey, to coordinate the reduction and evaluate the regional impact. And as I put on the morning note this morning, keep your eye on that JETS ETF because it's going to affect all these companies, Joey. Maybe some do better than others as they're able to schedule and be operationally more efficient than others, but JETS down today 1.5%. Before I get your comment on this, brother, we're going to have to go to Adair with news.
Yeah, so Nikkei Asia here had a report on these critical minerals plays. This came out, I think it was probably about 5-10 minutes ago. And here's the thing, it actually is maybe a little bit worrisome for some of these names because the headline here, China-US deal to ease rare earth controls hits snag over the scope. Now, apparently, according to this report, there's some discrepancies between what China thinks the agreement is with rare earths and what the US thinks the agreement is. Apparently, Washington or the U.S. here has been saying that past controls are also going to be eliminated. China saying that's not a thing, or they haven't announced it yet anyway. So thank you to an individual in our chat for bringing up this headline for me. I was able to find it because it wasn't really circulating much. But either way here, looks like there are some concerns here between the U.S. and China over these rare earth minerals names. It is worth noting MP and USAR both reporting earnings after the bell. Google also, I'm just seeing this now, unveiling 3 new AI update for sell-side products. Back to you.
What do you make of this whole?
No, I think it's interesting.
Brother.
I'm curious to why they're going to. Do you know why specifically they're going to be reducing capacity by 10%? I don't understand why that has
the
to correlate.
specific amount of 10?
Yeah, like why?
Because
why is that correlate?
The government shut down.
Yeah, I know, but aren't some of the airlines publicly traded? So what does that?
Yeah, but the FAA, all the air traffic controllers and stuff like that, they're all government.
Okay, they're all government.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough, right?
Yeah.
That can justify things. Again, the government shutdown not working too good for the Americans. That's why yesterday we seen a pop in some of these names in AAL. You can see yesterday was a solid session, but still within inside this range. We can go to a couple more of them. DAL. Sri brought you the JETS ETF. Again, a strong session yesterday. Leading in today, not doing too much. We can take out Love as well. Not something that's not too much. Southwest. I remember I used to write a lot of options on this thing. Okay. But as for that, Sri, these airlines, a lot of sideways price action. They get on these little runs and then they start to cool off. But I mean, this slope is steady up and to the right. Not too bad, and you can't really complain about that. Considering with AAL, you are currently up down 30% off of those previous all-time highs.
All right, Adara, 10%, 3,500 to 4,000 flights per day. What do you make of this?
Yeah, it's quite scary, but it's also not too surprising. And the reason I say that is because it's been pretty clear from the beginning that multiple aspects here of the Trump administration have focused specifically on airline and air traffic controls, sort of as a way to hopefully try to get the government out of shutdown, saying, hey, what happens if we don't have these airports reopened at full capacity before Thanksgiving? Because we know that's going to be a huge travel season, right? Caroline Leavitt spent, I'm not going to say the bulk of, but I will say a good portion of her prepared remarks during her press conference earlier this week, talking about how these major airlines are going to struggle. We know that J.D. Vance said the airline industry will be, quote, a disaster if these don't open up, right? And same thing with obviously comments as well from DOT Secretary Sean Duffy. So the point I'm trying to make is it makes sense here that if they want to get this government reopened and they view it there as being a holdup, trying to play at the heartstrings here with the airlines makes sense. We'll have to see what happens, though, because it does seem like as for now, the negotiating tactic is going to be trying to pick at things with these airlines now that we've actually had this cut, which again, it's been threatened a couple times. We'll have to wait and see if there is a response. But either way, longest shutdown in history. Let's see if this does end up hurting these industries the way J.D. Vance, vice president, predicted it might.
Thank you.
Man.
All right, have you heard of this company, Robinhood,
Whoa,
Joey?
buddy, did I ever?
I've heard a thing or two about it. You like how I set you up there, for a big boy trade?
I've seen it, yeah, brother. We like it.
When Ram heard that you had a big boy trade, like her face just turned. Like she doesn't like when anybody else is in a good mood. She likes bleakness all around her.
She's in a good mood.
She's in a good mood?
Yeah, she got me
that garlic stick.
Look at the smile. What a cute smile she got.
Look at this guy gaining points. I'm not going to be doing that, I'll tell you that.
I'm going to be honest. I was going to ask her for another garlic stick.
Yeah,
she's sneaky one.
Get it, Joey. This guy's good, bro. This guy's good. All right, let's get to work here, Joey. All right, so Robinhood smashes Q3 earnings, Joey, and they expand into wealth and they expand into crypto. We've jokingly called them, you know, the JP Morgan of the Gen Z generation. Well, let's see if that actually ends up being true. Major Q3 earnings beat. EPS 61 pennies. Street wanted 53 on revenue of 1.27 billion. The Street wanted 1.19, and that top line number grew 100% year over year. So an easy beat. Top line, bottom line. How much did they take home, Joey, at that 1.27? And eye-watering $556 million in profit. Compare that to the $150 million they took home last year on the quarter. What a beat. A 270% surge in profitability on the year. Despite the top line strength, though, there's always a an exception here. The transaction-based revenue, which came in at $730 million, slightly missed estimates, showing minor softness in trading volume. More on that in a second, because the company wants to rely a little bit less on it. CFO Jason Warnick highlighted another strong quarter of profitable growth as the company added 2 major business lines into its portfolio. One, the big one, I think this is going to be huge for them here. Prediction markets. They're tapping, I should say, into that speculative retail trade. Bitstamp acquisition, that boosts their crypto exchange presence. So good look on both sides. Both units, believe it or not, are already generating over $100 million in annualized revenue. So these are not new businesses that still need to kind of work into the remote. Both units making over $100 million. They're trying to diversify, Joey, Robinhood, that is, trying to diversify away from transaction dependency, focusing more on a recurring revenue stream model like interest income and asset management. Yep. They're saying, look, man, you know, a lot of people trade, you know, in good environments, but we have to be able to be profitable whether or not there's active trading or not. They don't want to be too reliant on that.
Absolutely, and I mean, you went over the event contracts there, right?
I mentioned that they're getting into it, Joe,
man.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, it's such a large and vast growing segment within Robinhood, just amplifying its numbers. So they're really starting to grow on there. Their transaction volume on that has been through the roof. Again, when I first discovered this name, it was like crypto transactions, 700%. You're getting those high triple digits and everything along those lines. And I'm like, hey, with this company and this type of growth, I need to get involved. And it's still sitting in triple digits. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm considering that I sold at 122. Yep. I've been in this since the April lows roughly there, so I had a massive return. I trimmed some. Well, guess what? If I get anything 121, 120, I'm loading the boat once again on Robinhood. This thing is becoming a Swiss Army knife of a company, and I love it to the fullest extent.
And I want to build on what you just said there, because it's fantastic. They're starting to close the gap, apparently, with Coinbase, Fidelity, Schwab evolving into that multi-asset wealth management platform. Joey, they got this Trade PMR acquisition, which accelerated their push in advisory and managed account. Like I was... You know, I say this jokingly, of course, they want to be the JP Morgans. They got a lot to do, obviously, to become that of the Gen Z. But you got to start somewhere, man, and this looks good.
Dude, I was listening to the All In with Vlad Tenev. This guy was one of the first individuals. He's like, okay, we're going to take some of these private companies, we're going to tokenize them, and he was giving them selling them to individuals in Europe, right? Not as easy, obviously, in North America, but he's starting that, and he wants to get more involved. He's like, yeah, I received a phone call or two from Sam and Elon Musk. But
Sam called?
Well, yeah, apparently he spoke to him a little bit. He's like, yeah, you know, he said that they didn't really say, he didn't get too deep into what he was saying about it, because he said it was actually a lot more difficult to tokenize OpenAI because of that it's a for nonprofit, which made things a little bit more difficult. But it's still, people in Europe were allowed to own these private names, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm glad on what he's doing. He's a quant. I believe in this guy. His haircut, he's got the glow up. It's like a Mark Zuck glow up at the end of the day. Crazy. Yeah,
they did him dirty though on my morning note. I gotta show everybody this because it's funny. So every morning, you know, to generate more impressions for the morning note, we got to weasel in and make a bit of a thumbnail there, Joey, just like we have for the show. And I told chat, make a picture or generate a picture of what's his name, Vlad Tenev. where he is smiling with an evil smile. And this is kind of what it generated over here, Joey, which I don't know. Like, they did him dirty there,
Yeah,
man.
they did.
First of all, his face is not that wide. He's not that chubby, but they did him a little bit dirty there. Make sure to get the note, guys, now that I my shameless advertising over here. If you're not a premium member, you got to click the join below the video on the stream. And then once you're joined, you're going to get this members only post every morning. I drop the morning note, Sharif's morning note. It's quite thorough. It's what we're using right now. You just click that post, hit more, and it's on the Google Drive right there. So make sure to get that sent to you guys every single day. I put out like support levels.
Jacques said something, just the current users, imagine how much wealth they'll be sitting on in 10 years. I mean, their assets under management have been going through the roof. This company is still growing. So I like it. I like what Vlad's doing over there. So be patient in this. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, TD Baker, I did say, I'm pretty sure 150 bucks. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a 2 in front of this name at some point. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but just with that growth rate and the way that it climbed from those April lows, I think I have a lot of faith. Well, I do have a lot of faith. I'm sure that I have a lot of faith in Robinhood that it will have a 2 in front of it at some point.
All right, let's go on to Figma, Joey. Figma obviously IPO'd earlier this year. Where are we at? Let's just check over here. Okay, while we are down, Joey, how much do you think we're down on Figma from the highs?
Oh, I already,
don't look.
I
you already know?
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's
70%. Okay,
Yeah.
to be exact, 69.19. See that,
It's
Ozan?
a lot, man.
You're down 69%, Ozan. But let's talk about the report, Joey. They reported Q3 revenue of $274 million. That topped estimates of $265, with EPS coming in at 10 pennies. Revenue did grow 38% year over year, which outpaced analyst expectations. The company posted an adjusted operating margin of around 12%, nearly double the consensus of what analysts thought. They were looking for 6.5. However, the net loss ballooned, guys, $1.1 billion, or about $2.72 a share if you want to put it in EPS terms, compared to the $15.6 million loss a year ago. They lost almost $1 billion more, largely due, of course, to the massive increase in stock-based compensation post the IPO. Let's talk about their AI adoption and their customer expansion. Their growth is powered by Figma Make, which is the company's generative AI design tool that allows users to build apps with AI assistance. About 30% of their enterprise customers are spending over $100,000 annually now using that Figma Make weekly. The CEO said Figma Make was a major driver of new customers acquisitions in Q3, with their net dollar retention rate among clients spending at least $10K improved to 131%, up from 129 last year. The company, Joey, added 1,262 large customers, which means they spend over $100,000 annually, which is up 13% quarter over quarter. The guide here, not too bad, 292 to 294 million, above the 283 consensus, implying a 35% year-over-year growth. What do you make of this? Look, it's not a good look for the stock,
no, it's
brother.
Not,
I mean, what can I say?
No, and like I think we're gonna leave it at that, man, because buying that IPO, it was really exciting, right? You get in, it opens up around $84, oversubscribed, you get that move up into 115. Next thing you know, you're gapping up the next morning, it's 134, you climb to 142, and then after that 142 level, it's been nothing but bad dreams and crying and essentially sorrow at the end of the day, Sharif. That's why buying some of these IPOs is a really tough thing. Like, we can go through some of the bigger names, right? So you're at the lows on Circle. You're on the lows at Webull. Webull's just been getting absolutely slacked and beaten to a pulp, man. This is some tough stuff. CoreWeave, what have you been up to?
Well, we're going to get to it next.
Oh, we got it?
Yeah,
okay, so I'm going to save that for later. But as for Fig, I'm not going to say that things won't turn around. You just have to be extremely patient, and sometimes that's why, I mean, the thing is, though, when I was buying IBIT's IPO, you already have something that's already traded on an exchange. So I think that backed it a little bit. There was a lot of demand for it. But after that, once the fundamentals start to settle in, you see it, hey, everything isn't all rainbow and sunshines, because as Sharif mentioned, you're down a substantial amount from that 142 high, and this will take years and years to recover.
Yes,
in my
sir.
opinion. Yeah, like a long time.
Yes, sir. That's a no good.
Yeah, it's no good, man.
All right, Joey, let's get to the one I promised promised you we'd get to. CoreWeave expands a $1.17 billion partnership with Vast Data. So they signed a nice agreement to the tune of $1.17 billion. It's a commercial agreement with Vast Data extending their existing AI infrastructure partnership, so they're already doing business with them. Under the new deal, Vast will become CoreWeave's primary data platform, and they're going to manage large-scale storage and process AI workloads. The agreement spans 3 to 5 years, and it aims to optimize data storage access, speed, and efficiency for GPU power. So in case you're wondering what this Vast Data company does, they build software to handle and streamline massive data sets used in AI systems, billing customers based on usage capacity and feature sets. The company's platform enables faster, more cost-efficient AI computation. Look, they reported $200 million in annual recurring revenue, and the new $1.17 billion agreement could further boost its revenue visibility and support expansion. But we all want to know, what does that chart look like, Joey?
It's not too bad. Like, compared to the other IPOs that we were talking about earlier, Sharif, like, this is one of the better ones that's holding up. You have this extended move to the top side, and you know what? Even though you are forming a lower high, I personally don't think the business model is too bad. I think it's pretty good. Rent the space out, and then sure enough, you can profit off that. I understand the cyclical, like that rounding effect, that consistent circle of going between NVDA and CoreWeave and all of these names. But hey, if there's an extreme amount of demand for cloud, I like what CoreWeave's got going on. If that trend line snaps to the top side, you might continue to climb a little bit higher. But as of what we got currently going on, you might get a retest and then additional break of that $86 neckline. But who knows? At some point, I think CoreWeave has a chance to be off to the races.
All right, guys, MTC's halted to the upside. It's about 14 pennies below the high of the day. It is halted at 575 with the top showing 574. Sorry, 375. The top showing 370 now. I need to let you know that the halt time 128.50 and the high of the day is 389. So this is the highest I think we've closed since around 12:30. So about an hour ago is the last time we were up here. Keep your eye on MTC, up 70% on the day, but look at what it did yesterday. Got close to 1,000%. All right, let's go on to the next story over here. We're talking Tesla. Oh, baby. 3 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's when the annual general meeting, the shareholder meeting to, yes, talk or vote on this. Elon Musk's pay package. There's other things as well that are going to be voted on. But so the vote Thursday on whether to approve Elon Musk's $878 billion compensation package. That's the largest executive pay proposal ever in corporate history. But there are very aggressive operational milestones that have to be met. So let's talk about them. They have to actually release 20 million vehicles and deliver those over 10 years. There has to be as well 1 million robo-taxis globally deployed, as well as a market cap growth from 1.5 trillion to 8.5 trillion. Passage is likely, according to analysts, as Musk holds currently 15% of voting shares, and now the vote occurs in Texas, not in Delaware, after Tesla reincorporated in that state. Supporters here argue that Musk's vision could multiply shareholder value if met. Critics, for their part, they say, look, it's excessive and shareholder unfriendly, creating too much key man risk. The Tesla board warned Musk might step down if the package is rejected, which obviously heightens the stakes. Shareholders will also vote on whether to allow Tesla to invest directly into XAI, which Musk has basically said Tesla should back XAI financially. And they're also going to decide whether to eliminate the company's supermajority voting requirement and replace it with a simple majority approval. Prior efforts in 2019, 2021, and 2022 failed to meet the two-thirds threshold. So what he wants is to drop that down to a simple majority. Separately, Joey, obviously he wants 25% control as well of the company. Currently, he only has 15. But we're going to have to see how much influence these proxy guys like Glass Lewis and ISS, and obviously not a proxy, but the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund also not down.
Yeah, I mean, he's wanted 25% for quite some time now. He's wanted to take some of that control. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, one thing that is like, okay, so 8.5 trillion is insane. in my opinion. I think it might be a little bit of a stretch, but as for some of the other goals, 20 million vehicles delivered over 10 years, I think that could be attainable. 1 million robo-taxis deployed globally. I think if you get some more clarity even here north of the border and what they got going on in the United States and even in other places like Europe and Asia, obviously everything along those lines, I think it can surpass that drastically. I think that the robo-taxi is going to be that next thing, and it's not going to be the robotics, it's not going to be Optimus that drives Tesla to 8.5 trillion, it's going to be the robo-taxi. I mentioned this before. If individuals who already pay for the subscription of FSD, they're like, man, I don't even touch the steering wheel anymore at this point. And I think it's going to be that if I can own a robo-taxi and not have to worry about touching a steering wheel and a brake or anything and pays essentially no mind to what's going on to the road, I'm going to take advantage of that. And I think a lot of humans on this planet will do the exact same thing.
Absolutely. Just before we go to Adara, this is the insanity that MTC has been providing on the day. It was a halt band up at 75, goes up to, I think, 89, or where'd it go? It went to 88, so 1 penny below the high of the day, drops into 3, trying to hold 3, and now trying to move back up now. MTC all over the freaking map. All right, Adara, give us your take on this big shareholder vote in a couple hours.
I have a lot of thoughts, and I think, too, I was thinking more listening to you guys talk as well. So I think the biggest thing here is I find it very funny and interesting that these proxy firms allegedly thinking on behalf of the shareholders are saying, oh, this proposal is going to be bad for shareholders, yet we know retail shareholders overwhelmingly support this issue. So I don't really know how you can claim to speak for shareholders and then speak the opposite of what they're saying. But that point aside, I really think, I was thinking about this, I think this issue comes down to whether or not you care that Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla. Because I know, I've talked about this a lot, these retail shareholders, like the Tesla boomer mamas, the Herbert Ongs of the world, the people who are really, really, really pro-Tesla online, a lot of the reason they love Tesla is for Elon Musk, the CEO, right? He is part of the brand. He's part of the face of the brand. He's really made himself a part of the fabric of the company. Understandably so. But meanwhile, I think if you're going to be like a proxy firm, a larger institution, you may not care as much that Elon Musk is the CEO, right? So I think it really comes down to, do you care if Musk is the CEO? If you do, you're incentivized to vote for this package. If you don't, you probably aren't as much. That's my thoughts. I have a feeling it'll pass. I'm with Dan Ives of Wedbush. I think it will pass. But also, like Adam Jonas with Morgan Stanley, I do understand there could be risk to the stock if it doesn't. We'll have to wait and see what happens here tomorrow. But I think either way, I do think it comes down to whether or not you're in it for Tesla or you're in it for Elon.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to the next topic. Snap surges on a strong Q3 beat, and they're going to buy back $500 million of their stock. So, yeah, market liking that. Let me look at where Snap is over here. I'm just keeping an eye on MTC because it's like holding $3 right now. So Snap on the day, yeah, nice, man. 11.75% on the day. It's off the high though. Got to 9.25 in the afternoon session yesterday, dropping a little bit now. So shares jumped nice after a Q3 revenue beat, and as I mentioned, $500 share repurchase program. Revenue beat expectations, a little over $1.5 billion. They lost 6 pennies per share, but the EPS comp here not directly comparable to estimates. Their global daily active users barely beat 477 million, and the company actually reported that that number may drop further as new age restrictions in certain jurisdictions comes into play. We're talking about like teen accounts and stuff like that, so their DAOs may start going down. Now their ARPUs, their average revenue per user, beat expectations, 316. She was looking at 313, but what's his name? I forget the name of the CEO, but anyway, he said that they were actually going to increase that number likely next quarter as they start to use AI a little bit more in targeted ad placement, just like Meta's been doing.
Sorry, what is
average revenue per user.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Their Q3 sales, guys, up 10% year over year, but the net loss did widen from $153 million loss this time around to 104. Narrowed, excuse me, they lost less money, $104 million they lost on the quarter. Last year at this time, they lost 153. Now their guidance, they guided Q4 sales substantially higher than Q3, 1.68 to 1.71 rebound makes sense as we get into that Christmas quarter and people advertise a bit more. That's slightly above consensus though here, Joey. Now, they did announce a $400 million partnership with Perplexity, and the way that's going to work here is it's going to integrate the conversational search into Snapchat by early next year. Perplexity is going to pay Snapchat through a mix of cash and equity, marking a new revenue source, of course, for the company. Integration gives Perplexity default placement in Snapchat's inbox, allowing its AI to answer user queries directly within the app. We've seen that with Meta, though. They throw it in WhatsApp, they throw it in Messenger, they throw it in Facebook. Nobody's using it either way. Evan Spiegel said the Snap goal here is to make Snapchat a hub for AI agents that engage users in creative and trusted ways. I remember Meta trying to do this. Remember the personas? There was supposed to be an arrogant person that you would be able to chat with, or like a very nice person. It didn't really take off, though. They also are expanding into augmented reality, Joey, AR glasses. They're looking to speed up the collaboration, of course, with Luxottica or whatever. Management sees this as critical to maintaining its edge in consumer AR while reducing internal capital drag. Joey, what do you make of this? Brother?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Not too much growth here, but for me, it's one of my only social media platforms. The ads have been just coming out the wazoo, so digital ad revenue has to be increasing at some point. Teaming up with Perplexity is pretty good. Am I going to be buying the stock? I don't think so. Again, I'm not going to compare it to Vine or anything along those lines, but Instagram's dominance is just so large. I understand that there's a lot of users, social media individuals who make livings off of it. I'm not going to use the other word for it because I don't think that's the correct one, and it starts with an I. So yeah, I don't agree with that whatsoever. But anyways, at the end of the day, Snapchat isn't bad. I personally like it. Is it going to fall into the world of the Vines and just in the what's that one, MySpace and everything along those lines? I don't think so. Okay. It's pretty big, and a lot of people make some money off of this thing.
All right, sounds good. Let's go on to the next story over here. Lucid misses Q3 estimates, again cuts production. Randy, perfect time for you to walk by, brother. And they widen the loss, Randy, so that's not the only bad news for them. Let's talk about this. I'll tell you in 1 second. Wider than expected loss, missed revenue. EPS, Randy, negative 265, wider than the 227 the street was looking for. Revenue, 336 million, missing the 379 expected. Net loss, Randy, they lost almost $1 billion on the quarter. That's more than they lost last year. A little bit less than they lost last year. They lost 992, now they lost 978. I hate to laugh about this, but they're continuing to bleed money. What else? A 17% wider net loss. Despite the miss, revenue did grow 68%. So they got that top number up, but they got to get costs under control. I guess so. That's what it is. Lucid cut the high end of its annual production guidance to 18,000 vehicles. Previously, it had been 18 to 20, marking a second consecutive guidance reduction cut. 18,000 vehicles. I find the gravity over here. I'm just looking. The company delivered 4,078 vehicles in Q3, but it doesn't say if those were gravity only, Randy. They don't break it down. They said the Lucid also developing a new midsize EV, though the production isn't expected until late 26. So the deliveries missed. The total deliveries for the year missed. Everything missed on here, brother. It was not a good look. They're trying to expand its credit facility by asking the Saudis for more money. Can you believe it? But they are trying to diversify a little bit away from the Saudis, Joey. All right, enough making fun of this company, Joey.
Well, I mean, you're going to send it over to me, and I'm going to go over the technicals, and then we're going to probably make fun of it a little bit more. So we may as well just get right to it.
Get it to it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I told you this car business is a tough one.
Brutal business.
Yeah, it's really tough. But sure enough, it's even tougher if you're a Lucid shareholder. You don't want that whatsoever. I don't even want to give you the metric because it pains me to even look at it from where we're off of those previous highs. But downtrend still fairly intact. I don't see that breaking anytime soon.
All right, let's go on to the next story, Joey. Warner Brothers Discovery. They got plans here, baby. Well, we'll see. So they confirmed the plan to split into 2 separate companies by mid-next year as a part of a broad strategic review. The company continues to evaluate, of course, potential asset sales, including part or all of its entertainment holdings in response to interest from multiple suitors. We've brought you this story before, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, there's so many others, of course, Paramount, Skydance. Speaking of Paramount, Paramount has made 3 takeover bids. All have been rebuffed, while Comcast and Netflix have also shown interest. The planned split would create the following. One company would be focused on film, TV, and streaming, so that would be like your HBO Maxes and your Discovery Plus. And then another one is going to be housing cable networks, the legacy stuff like your Discovery, CNN, the best news network in the world, baby, Food Network, and TBS. The breakup is expected to finalize in Q2. You know I'm joking. Finalize in Q2 2026, aiming to unlock shareholder value and simplify operations. They swung a Q3 net loss. We know that, Joey. They lost about $150 million compared to the $135 million they made in profit last year. There has been obviously a marked change in how people consume television and ads, streaming growth versus linear television declines. Talk about it. So Warner Brothers Discovery added 2.3 million streaming subscribers, bringing the total to 128. That's across HBO Max and Discovery. Their advertising revenue plunged 16% down to 1.41 billion, while distribution revenue also slipped 4% down to 4.7 billion. Content revenue dropped 3%. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So definitely having a hard time of it as of late.
Man, we need another pandemic or something, Sharif, because I'm looking at some of these numbers. It's just like, and why am I getting at this? Look at what's going on with Warner Brothers Discovery from that level. You're down 84% from that high, but oh boy, I wish I was. If I knew what I knew now and another pandemic happened, it's everything, man. I'm going to be sleeping in my car for a bit. I'm going to be just buying the overall stock market, just funnel everything in there and just sit on it for some while. But at the end of the day, in all seriousness, I think with Warner Brothers Discovery, that obviously with the legacy business, it's tough. No one's really watching cable TV anymore. There's so many different ways, and obviously with the streaming wars is insane because you have giants like Netflix, obviously Paramount Plus as well too, and then you have the likes of Amazon and Apple TV. You got Amazon Prime. You're still looking to recover from that area. From those April lows, you are currently up 179%, which isn't horrible, but if you've been bag holding for 5 years, it's going to take some time. I don't know if it ever recovers to those levels.
All right, Joe. Sounds good. Let's go on to the next story over here. What do we got? Moderna beats on Q3 expectations, but faces ongoing sales decline. So better than expected. As I mentioned, Q3 2025 results, revenue 1.1 billion on the dot. The street was looking for 850. They beat by $150 million, but despite that, they're still down on their top line number, 45% year to date, or year over year, excuse me. The net loss, $200 million versus last year when they actually made money, $13 million. Not big, but at least they were profitable. COVID vaccine revenue reached $971 million, with $781 million coming in from the U.S. market. EPS obviously was a loss of 52 pennies, but better than the 74 penny loss expected by the street. Now they're trying to get costs under control here. Operating expenses fell 34% year over year, up to 1.28 billion, beating the forecast of an operating loss of 1.74 billion. The drop reflects aggressive cost-cutting and efficiency gains as post-COVID demand contracts. The CEO highlighted strong commercial and financial execution in 2025. Despite the cost control, the company remains unprofitable. They also narrowed their guide, their 2025 outlook. They're guiding $1.6 to $2 billion in revenue. They were guiding 1.5 to 2.2 earlier, so a little bit below the midpoint. And their R&D expense, Joey, look at that, 3.3 to 3.4 billion. People ask why drugs are so expensive because they spend $1 zillion to figure this stuff out.
Yep.
What do you make of Moderna?
Moderna has been tough, man. Another pandemic name right here that has been in a world of trouble with mRNA. I was buying this name just before the pandemic. Again, the most simplistic thing possible is who's going to be with the leader in the COVID vaccine. But as for what's going on, if you don't have much in the pipeline, Sharif, 95% off of those pandemic highs, $495 the high, and you're trading at $24. Not too good of a look.
All right, guys, we're just in MTC here looking for some continuation pop. I got in at the 20. It seems to be holding the 20 EMA on the 5. It's at the $0.25. We got 6s. I'm just going to layer the orders here. I already have my stop in place. So let's see what comes of this bad boy up in here. All right, let's go into the next story, Joey. Elf Beauty plunges after weak guidance despite the road boost there. We'll talk about that in a second. EPS. 68 pennies adjusted, beating the 58 pennies expected. Revenue 3.44 million, missing the 366 million expected. Sorry, 344 million is what they took home. The street was looking for 366. Net income $3 million. That is less than what they made last year, which was $19 million, an 84% decline year over year. Due to tariff-related margin pressure, so this article reads. Sales growth did increase 14% year over year, but below the 20% growth that the street was looking for. So they acquired this company called Rhode. It's Hailey Bieber's Rhode Skin is expected to contribute about $200 million to full-year revenue. They paid $1 billion for this thing. It represents roughly 13% of total sales. So $1 billion is going to take them 5 years to make their money back if that number stays the same. Interesting. Rhode's annual run rate now exceeds 300 million, making it Elf's largest growth driver amid slowing organic momentum. Their full year 2025 outlook, 1.55 billion to 1.57, 18 to 20% growth or thereabouts. That's less than the 1.65 the street was looking for. And their EPS as well missed, Joey, 280 to 285. Oh, nice. The street wanted 358.
Good look, street. Before we get into Elf Beauty and the technical, some people saying crypto moon. I know that's not necessarily the case, but a nice little pop in Bitcoin right there, guys. A low of around 56.89 and continuing to climb a little bit higher on today's session. Downtrend has been broken. The downtrend has been broken, and you're now starting to climb a little bit higher. But now moving on to Elf Beauty, you can see that you have this massive gap down in the technicals, guys. That is not a good look, down 40% from yesterday's close. Ooh, tough look as you're heading towards some key support levels, and I think that's going to place us around $50 or so, Sri.
Bang. All right, just looking over here at the bladder, my boy Joey. All right, what else we got? We got Bucks. Starbucks faces union strike and a threat of ahead of the Red Cup Day. So Starbucks Workers United voted 92% in favor of an open-ended strike beginning on the 13th of November, which is the Red Cup Day, one of the chain's biggest annual promotional events. The strike could occur in 25 or more cities if no collective bargaining deal is reached by the deadline. This action marks the union's largest coordinated effort yet. Building on organizational momentum that's been brewing since 2021, workers are demanding better scheduling, higher pay, and the resolution of over 500 unfair labor practice charges against the company. The Red Cup Day, what the hell is this? The strike would coincide with Starbucks' popular reusable Red Cup giveaway, a key holiday kickoff and traffic driver. I didn't even know they did this. Disruptions could hit Q1 full year 2025 revenue, which historically includes a company's strongest seasonal sales. We're talking about those holiday drinks, the gift cards, the merchandise, all the stuff they sell during the holidays. With no fixed end date to the possible strike, Joey, the strike could significantly affect store operations and supply chain continuity during that critical period. Starbucks, for their part, they said, look, we're ready to talk, but they expressed disappointment at the union's decision. The company claims the Workers United represents only 4% of its workforce, or about 550 cafes out of 18,000. Starbucks maintains it had already offered the best retail job, citing $30 plus average annual pay and benefits, so that includes annual pay and benefits, lower than industry turnover and 1 million annual job applicants, and higher employee engagement versus retail peers. So they're saying you guys already got it good. What's your take on it?
Making $30 an hour at Starbucks?
Well, it's not 30. That's with the average, including your benefits and stuff like healthcare,
okay, yeah,
stuff
so
like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's not too bad. Baba, let's go, says Katina Man. As for Starbucks, we know that they're starting to close down a lot of their stores. They're teaming up with or sold a stake in China, which is, I think, really big as well, too. But for me personally, I'm not a pumpkin spice latte guy or anything along those lines. Starbucks is a no-go. I don't want to own that stock. I think it's a tough space to be in.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Dara, what do you
okay.
make of Starbucks?
Yeah, I think here with Starbucks, I love that they're timing this for that Red Cup event. I think that's really, I like how pointed that is. They're like, you know what, you want to have your event? Well, I'm going to make it a little bit harder for you. The only thing, though, is given the fact that this is only roughly 4% of the workforce, I don't know how much of a dent this is going to make. And I also think it's a lot harder to make your point when you're trying to do this strike, when you're trying to time it, especially the way that you're trying to time it. And yet you represent such a small portion of the overall workforce, right? So I don't know if the impact is necessarily going to be the extent that they've clearly intended it to be. We'll have to wait and see. I have mentioned my several qualms about Brian Nicholas, CEO, in the past. I won't repeat those again, but I do think Starbucks, he keeps talking about going back to Starbucks. I think they need to do that soon because we still have some, you know, obviously the sales in terms of the comparable sales anyway in the US and China were maybe not as hairy as we were expecting them to be, but I still think SPUX is a long way to go. The stock and the company, and any kind of strike, even if it's rather small in its scope, probably not a great look, especially when you're struggling this much.
Very much for that. All right, guys, that concludes the news segment. All right, watching now, MTC. It's got a seller of note here at, I want to say between the third of a dollar to the quarter of a dollar. There's a seller at 26. What do we got on? We got 6s on. I'd like a nice price spike up. Let's take out the half dollar. It's putting in higher lows. It feels like it's accumulating for a break, but you never know with these monsters over here. MTC, there it goes in the 30s, Joey. Seller at 30 here. Continuing to watch as a big seller at 30. Can't shake them. And you can't shake any of the new prints that are coming on there. So big buy order. Can't shake that 30 seller. So we'll continue to watch as that level continues to keep the price below the third of a dollar. Back into 29s. Let's take a gander at that 30 seller again if we work our way back up there. Not quite yet. So we'll have to pack our patience there. Also keeping my eye on this one, BGS. Nice curl off VWAP. Still south of 5. I think we've got 83s on. And then MSAI. I've continued to keep my, where is that? Sorry. MSAI. Continuing to keep my eye on that one. Beautiful hold off VWAP, but still below that 150. Keep your eye on that 145 level. We're going to pause for a second. Adair's got breaking news.
I just want to mention here, CRSP, pretty volatile. CRISPR getting priority here with this FDA awarding their second batch of national priority vouchers. Looks like CRSP benefited from this announcement from the FDA with regards to, again, national priority vouchers. Back to you.
MTC through the third of a dollar. I think we got 48 prints there, but true to form, it works its way into a key area of psychological support, namely the resistance, that is, namely the half dollar. Sells off. Keep your eye, though, on higher lows. Are we still holding trend? Or are the sellers starting to take over? So we know we've had trouble with the half dollar all day. Look at that candle, the 5-minute candle at 12.25, rejects the half dollar. How about that candle at 12.50, rejects the half dollar? How about the other one at 1.15, half dollar rejection? You guys know where I'm going with this. So be on the lookout here. MTC right into 42s again. Let's take a gander now at who's selling at the half dollar. Monster seller at 45s, Joey. 48s now showing up. 49s, let's wet the beak there. We're waiting north of that level as well. We've got 58s, and then we've got 69s, of course, waiting for that position to clear. There's 50, seller at 50. We're shaking him. Oh, we drop back down. Yes, we are shaking him momentarily. A little above 50, a little bit below 50. So the zig and zag continues with MTC.
All right, man. Good look there, brother. I'm just, I got a lot of tabs open here that we're going to have to close down.
Get it, Joey.
But aside from that, guys, just sitting on what I was trading earlier in the day, going to preserve a lot of the mental capital for earnings this evening as I tend to go home and trade those. I plan to do so. Lots of names coming across the board. We went through the expected moves. QBTS was definitely the trade of the day in that short to the downside. Indecision print on the 5-minute, right at the volume weighted average price, and then boom, clean to the downside.
Clean.
So fresh and so clean on that one. Now, as for Tesla, guys, I only traded 2 names, and that's going to be QBTS and TSLL. TSLL was a good one out of the gate. We put on that size earlier in the day, but then we did give a little bit back. The majority, as I was mentioning it not too long ago, let's see, come on, what you can do it, man. It's just not loading the data for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. Combo with Shiv and Joe, wet the beak response. Oh, you want the, okay, we'll hit that. Hold on one second.
I got you.
Oh, you're ready with that one. All right, no problem. It's so true, Drew. Getting to trade in between calls is legit, and being able to mess around in the chat. Biggest thing is getting to see the kids at home while we're, yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course, we all do, my friend. That's just how the nature of things go. Otherwise, we wouldn't be trading and putting up contracts and doing all these things, trying to make some extra dollars, not a couple extra dollars. We want those thousands at the end of the day. But no, guys, in all seriousness, we take a couple attempts here on Tesla. We go 1 for 3 on that one and still stay profitable on that. Bob Kieran, no trades. Exactly, just holding on to what we got going on today. Adair, what do you got for us?
Walmart, guys. WMT. Sorry, cough drop. Walmart here. Trump saying he, quote, has a lot of respect for Walmart. WMT on watch. Back to you.
We'll take a look at Walmart. I mean, again, it doesn't mean anything, but I have a lot of respect for Walmart as well, too. So maybe I could get this stock to pump. If it moves on something like that, I think is absolutely insane. But here it is, Walmart breaking through some 101 levels. No real volume stepping in on that one there, Sharif. So I think everybody in this room has, I think everybody in this room has, there's no way a stock should be moving or having an insane volume spike. Obviously, Adair, thank you for bringing us that. But if the stock were to go parabolic of saying I have a lot of respect for Walmart, in my mind, is slightly insane. But I'm glad that it didn't. Walmart is a good buy. Yeah, we love Walmart.
I love them.
Get
him, Donald.
I love Sam. Sam was a good guy.
He's a good guy. Well, don't ask Elon that, bro.
Oh.
Elon, like, openly accused him on
Sam Waltman.
Oh, yeah, Sam Waltman. Shout out to the OG, man.
You're not Sam Altman.
Yeah, well, they're pretty close, bro. Sam Walton and Sam Altman.
Yeah, exactly. So, no.
My dad made me read that dude's book, like, when I was in grade school. Yeah, because my dad's a retailer, right?
So, shout out to the good old Walmart there. But no, in all seriousness, guys, I think this is an absolute beautiful buy for the long term.
Sam Waltman. Walkman. Shout out Grant Ratcliffe.
What was I going to pull up here? That's going to be Costco. This thing is, again, starting to consolidate off of those lows. Downtrend still fully intact. But I think Costco is an absolute buy. This name is the epitome of essentially what you want from an investment, 21 all the way, where this trend breaks. We're going to, I can't even get a percentage metric. Adara, it's 2 o'clock anyways, guys. Adara, what do you got for us?
Novo Nordisk CEO Mike Dustar coming in hot during this Trump press conference. He was asked here by a reporter what's happening here with the MTSR deal, and then Trump said, well, we want more details. So basically, we had CEO of Novo, Mike Dustar, saying, you know, it's between us and Pfizer. Trump asks who's winning, and Mike Dustar says, our bid is higher, and our message to Pfizer is if you want to win, reach into your pockets and dig out more money for a better bid. So interesting look here. MTSR not really reacting, but Pfizer and Novo, of course, also on watch as Mike Dustar basically challenges Pfizer to outbid them for MTSR because Novo also just raised their bid too. Back to you.